What is up, everybody? How are you guys doing today? Happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of the Black Line Brief. I am your host, Matthew McKim. Well, hopefully you guys had a good weekend. Took the day off yesterday. Hopefully that didn't bother too many people. I had a good family day yesterday. Went out and drove around one of the lakes around here. Went out to eat and then got to go over to a friend's house and watch the fight with the family and the kids and everything. And that was pretty cool. Interesting fight night last night. If you guys watched it, some funny moments, some pretty crazy moments too. But yeah, so today's going to be a good show. Looking back at Erika Kirk over, obviously, first starting like over this last year, like 2025, and then we're going to work our way back. I didn't mean to hit that button. I'm trying to fix my monitor. What do you call a monitor that you're monitoring things on? I don't think it's called a monitor. Sounds a little redundant, but I want to look back at Erika and analyze her behavior, her words, her actions, how she's behaving. The first video we're going to look at is 9 months ago. It's in August 22nd. Okay. So that'll put things into perspective of what was going on in her and Charlie's life in August of 2025. And there's a lot that was going on at that time. So putting that into perspective of how she's acting with Pastor James Kaddis on this Bible in 365, podcast of theirs. And then we'll look at one at 11 months ago, which is in July or like June or July of last year, which is interesting because we know time frame of what was going on at that time as well. I'd have to look at the date of the actual filming. It says June. And so I'm remembering if the Young Women's Leadership Summit in 25, I think was in June. But then we know the Student Action Summit, I think was in July. So there was a lot going on, right? And then they go and film with Tucker, and Tucker's on. There was the debate that they had that Tucker moderated with Dave Smith and Josh Hammer. He gets the phone call from President Trump, the phone call from Bibi. He goes to the White House and advocates to not get involved in Iran, the war in Iran. He sees Joe Kent when he's there. So there's a lot of contextual things to keep in mind when analyzing how's Erika Kirk behaving at this time and what is she saying about her and Charlie and their marriage and things like that. And I do have a video 4 years ago, but I don't know that we'll get to it with all these timestamps that I have for tonight's 2 videos to look at least. But we're going to start at 9 months. We're going to work our way back to the 11 months, and then we'll touch base and see how much time we have. And if not, we'll push that next, the 4 years video, and then another video to Wednesday or Thursday. Tuesday, tomorrow, we're going to have TPUSA insider and amazing man, Matt Tucciaroni, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. The video link has already been created, so mark your calendars and go ahead and head over there and hit that notification to make sure that you're reminded of when we're getting ready to go live tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And might as well just check a couple administrative boxes while we're at it. As you guys head into the channel, please do me a favor and hit the like. It is the best way that you can help support the channel. Thank you very much if you've done so already. And if you haven't, go ahead. Boop. And always, it's a good rule of thumb. Make sure that you are still subscribed to the channel. Believe it or not, it happens more than you would think. People get unsubscribed. It's weird. It's happened to me. I've heard Zach talk about it too. It happens to people on his show all the time. So just make sure that you're still subscribed. And when you do so, just make sure your notifications is clicked to all. I only go live once a day. I don't do shorts. The only time I'll do like a post on the channel, like homepage, is if I'm not doing a live for that day, trying to give you guys a heads up. So you won't get a bunch of needless notifications from me. I don't do small videos. I do my lives, and that's it. Same time pretty much every day, 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So Thank you so much. And without further ado, oh, wait, let's see who's here. What up, Jam? What up, Sarah? What up, Kristen? Dulcinea, what up? Your favorite darkness, what up? Let's see, is Crystal in the house? MRK Perspective, what up? Sweet Sassy T, how's it going? Elizabeth Hurley, good to see you as well. That looks like everyone in the chat. Vasi Leaky, I don't know. I'm bad at reading some people's handles. Stole my husband's Jeep. Hey, I have a Jeep. All right, let's see. I think that's everyone. I wanted to give a shout out to, I don't know if you guys watch Kaddis. Oh, what up, Pop? It's been a minute. Pop's been busy doing a lot. Good to see you. Good to see you, Dad. Moxbox, what up? But okay, I want to give a shout out to one of our resident longtime community members who obviously received a massive shout out on Candace's show today, Crystal Smolin. Let me pull up her X account so that if you don't know who she is and you have an X account, this is Crystal Smolin's X. And she found this video. I think this is the one that got reposted or shared by Candace. I didn't get to watch Candace's show, but I definitely got notified of all from all the people involved in this channel letting me know that Crystal got a shout out. She's found a lot of other good things too. We played this one last week talking about security at the Butler, lack of security at Butler, and he's talking to Dan Flood right off screen. He points to Dan and kind of gives Dan a shout out, which is crazy given that Dan was his personal security team member. He had Brian Harple was the head of the Integrity Security Solutions, which was the security team for all of TPUSA. But Dan was Charlie Kirk's personal executive security person, right? That was this video down here. But this is the video that Crystal posted, I think, 12 hours ago today. It says, well, oh my gosh, Charlie is solving his own murder and the attempted assassination of Trump beyond the grave. His words when he was here are mind-blowing. This is a must-watch. Please share this. It's extremely important. I cannot believe that we all missed this. Please share. Why not? Let's give it a listen. Let's make sure it's on the screen. It is. Let's give a listen to Charlie Kirk. Let me back it up.
The more we learn about Trump getting shot in the assassination attempt, the less it makes sense. This is one of the largest scandals in American history. Probably even the same as JFK. By the way, if it wasn't for divine providence, Donald Trump would be dead right now. 2 bullets went right by him, one of which hit him, and he got shot. We now know that the shooter was identified by Secret Service 3 hours beforehand, that there was a roof, unattended, 120 yards away from Trump. In broad daylight, the shooter brought out a ladder from his car that he bought at Home Depot, climbed the ladder with a rifle, set himself up. People saw him, Trump supporters. Police did nothing. Secret Service did nothing. He was able to set up a shot unobstructed of the president. How is this possible exactly? Was this malevolence? Was this just incompetence? This involved potentially dozens of people that were in law enforcement. Oh, and even one more. Local law enforcement climbed up the ladder and the guy pointed a gun at him and he just walked away. Why wasn't there a call to take Trump off stage? Oh, we have a commotion, take Trump off stage. Why didn't the counter sniper team go off scope and not do their job? Why was there no drone reconnaissance or helicopter support? I'm just a layman. I'm not a military guy. I'm not in personal protection, but I'm also not a moron. Was this a setup? What's going on here? And
okay, what's really tragic and sad is all the things he's pointing out that went wrong with Butler are almost identical that went wrong at UVU, right? Like no drones. Oh, UVU wouldn't let us have any drones. Okay, the media team had drones. Other people were flying drones. We know a lot of people have found lots of drones, mini drones, regular drones flying all over that day. But we know like Mikey McCoy Frank Turek, arriving in the van or in the SUV with Charlie, was looking at drone footage. Later says from the media team within TPUSA, so somebody was flying a drone, right? None of the roofs were covered, right? Oh, well, I wouldn't call this a roof, right? The one behind him, that's a walkway in above the Hall of Flags. And ironically, that would have been the one not really likely to have a shooter or anything. And it wasn't even the threat of a shooter that made Dan Flood and Brian Harpole talk to Chief Long and ask them to designate that a temporary trespass or temporary criminal trespass, no trespass zone. And then they put a cop up there, security team member from Brian Harpole's team, and they put caution tape off from like one end to one end so no one could go above it and walk up there. But like it was like a threat of throwing rocks. Okay. Mind you, totally visible. No one's going to go up there and do anything to actually take Charlie Kirk's life. But certain roofs that are at certain critical distances for long range shots, well, medium to long range, depend on like, how much of an expert of a shooter you are, but with a scope, no less, for sure, 120 yards, 150 yards, 200 yards. None of those roofs were covered, and there was many. And so Charlie Kirk pointing out all the things that as a layman, he goes, these are just things that I noticed as a layman. We noticed these things about Charlie Kirk. He's saying this, Dan Flood is offset right there. Like he's right there because he went everywhere with Charlie Kirk. How can Charlie be pointing out these things that went wrong with Butler? And then the same security team that's around him as he's saying this, talking about Butler, do the exact same thing at UVU. And then you want to say that it wasn't negligence. Dan Flood gets a raise and a promotion. No one's looking into Brian Harpole and Dan Flood. And that doesn't even like start to ask questions about the seeming, sign, that Dan Flood did that day. Or Brian Harpole with all of his really weird and bizarre behavior, hands here, hand in the pocket, turning something on, turning something off. Philip Goldsberry and freaking Terrell Farnsworth looking at Dan Flood. There's something wrong with the audio video. Dan Flood calling over Brian Harpole. Get over here, dude. You got to undo that thing, what you just did in your pocket. And then he undoes it and he turns it back off. That's what it looks like, at least in my opinion. That's what it seems like from the UVU review video that happened. Because right after, Dan Flood's like, dude, whatever you just did in your pocket, bro, it just messed with it. That thing that's in your pocket, it just messed with it. You got to turn it off. And he's pointing at Terrell and Philip, who just went like this because there was feedback issues. So none of those things did Dan Flood and Brian Harpole, while listening to Charlie point out the issues with Butler, go, maybe we should do this at all future events that are outside that have roofs and things, maybe just to check the box because we're integrity security solutions. Charlie Kirk. No, don't worry. No negligence. No. It was Chief Long's fault. UVU police's fault. Everybody else's fault. Not Brian Harpole. Not Dan Flood. Nope. Stand up, guys.
Lack of concern from the media is so telling because there are many members of the media that want Donald J. Trump dead, and they don't want to get to the bottom of this. We were 2 inches away from one of the dark.
I think that same sentiment can be said about Charlie Kirk. Members of the media seem disinterested, not interested at all about like what really happened to Charlie Kirk. And it seems that, at least the left media probably either wanted or was okay with Charlie Kirk being taken out. I can't speak for people, but based on the response from a lot of people on the left that rejoiced, gloated, and mocked Charlie Kirk being assassinated after the fact and cheered, I would say that their lack of covering this and lack of curiosity as to all of the things that we've pointed out that are wrong with the official narrative and Fed slop BS narrative, none of them have done stories on. It's just insane. I guess, all the right media, like, yeah, they're going to hold up the status quo. They're going to, be the Fed sloppers pushing it. But like the left's not jumping on this at all, trying to point out, like something went wrong here. No.
Darkest chapters in American history. No one has been fired. No one has resigned.
Same with,
and no one will probably be held accountable.
Nope.
but this is one of the strangest, most suspicious stories in American history.
To that date, to the date of filming this video, I would agree. I would say Charlie Kirk's assassination is way stranger, way worse, and less answers, because Trump survived, right? And Charlie didn't. And I think it's interesting to point out he's wearing a shirt with the iconic picture of Trump, throwing his fist up with the blood on his ear and his cheek with the flag that just miraculously started lowering for this iconic photo. He's wearing it as he's talking about Butler. I don't think that's an accident.
Put in the comments what you think actually happened, because it doesn't make any sense.
I agree, dude. We miss you, Charlie, and it does not make any sense what happened to you. And as long as we're all here, we will not let it go. We will not let it go. All right. We're going to get to this video now. I'm going to say some things, right? So James Kaddis, he is the senior pastor of Calvary Chapel, Signal Hill. All right. There is a very, very weird dynamic between these two people, Erika Kirk and James Kaddis. He will continually tell her how gorgeous she is, how beautiful she is, and compares her to his wife. Similarly, Erika says weird things about him that, like, in this setting and scenario, like, you're married to Charlie, this is being filmed. Not a lot of people have seen it. It's got like 1,000 views. Nonetheless, you're filming it for the public to see. I don't want to be overly critical, and I might have confirmation bias, and I might be biased, right? By this point, I think that we've all, at least on this show, we've concluded like something is just so off with her. And no, it doesn't mean that she like assassinated Charlie, but I mean it points to just something. It points to something, especially like now looking after the fact, after Charlie's gone, and how she just turned around and has done the complete opposite. I think it's important for us to look at the behavior and like, when did things start going wrong? What was she saying in June and July when Charlie was under a tremendous amount of pressure? What was she saying in August, just a couple weeks before the assassination? And then we'll look back, at a later episode at the 4 years and years ago mark when like she came into the picture, because I think that'll be important as well. But all right, let's get started. Enough without further ado. And this video is from August 2025. This is 9 months ago, and then the next video we'll do in a little bit is 11 months ago, and that's in June. All right, so this is 16. Yep, let's start here.
Gotta blow my nose now. Goodness gracious.
I know.
I read that
I'm like
question.
here looking for a tissue, and all I have is my daughter's puppet. Excuse me.
I don't see any tears, but okay.
That's a tough one. That is ugh. Oh my goodness.
Okay. I'm just going to leave this puppet right here in case I need to use it again.
The reason why I started it there, because the whole story, it was ridiculous to begin with, and it didn't even evoke any tears. This was all performative. And I just wanted to start here just so you could see that the lack of tears on Erika and her using her daughter's puppet, or stuffy, I don't know what you want to call it, to blot her dry eyes. Okay. All right.
For something else. Okay. That came in handy. Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you. I know that blessed so many people, not just this anonymous reader, but I've had friends that have had situations like that. And
yeah, it's
I'm
hard.
going to send them that clip.
Praise the Lord.
Really bless them.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Tori, how do I learn how to love? I was raised in a hostile household. My father has narcissistic personality disorder. He created chaos and division in the household, and he used love like money. And I think I'm learning what real love is. And there are times where I doubt myself, but how can I tell the difference in myself?
So most of the times she reads the question, he talks forever, and it's nuts. But I thought this was interesting because, like, ding, 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 ding. She's reading a question that's like, okay, it's an opinion, but like just based on like actions, behavior, how she just presents herself to the world, I kind of was like, it's interesting watching her read this because, like, in my opinion, I know that Candace thinks she is a psychopath. Others think she thinks she is a sociopath. I definitely think she can be a narcissistic person, and that this seems to have kind of, in my opinion, probably explained how she treated Charlie, at least maybe towards the end. Obviously not the whole time, but I mean, if we're to believe any of the stories that came out of like Common Sense podcasts and others who've reported, well, I think Erika and even, Candace and Barron at one point said that he had a source that there was major issues in the marriage at the end. And I don't know if Barron has ever circled back on that, about that source, but I think it was one of Charlie's friends from what I remember. And that's the context of that. The pastor or the priest came over either on the 8th or the 9th and prayed over their marriage, not over Charlie and Erika for this curse that somebody bought on Etsy or Pinterest or whatever. The Jezebel article, which obviously that's what was floated by Erika. So like anything she says, you're like, yeah, that's not the truth. I much rather believe Barron and Candace Owens any day. And then we have the guy, the Common Sense Show podcast that I think he's a doctor. He's a psychologist or psychiatrist. He reported that, I think supposedly, I don't know if he's ever shown proof, but that Charlie filed for divorce. Supposedly, maybe you guys can catch me up if he ever ended up revealing how he knows that or that he showed evidence of that. But nonetheless, issues in the marriage, at least towards the end. And that goes right into my theory of the night before and the arguments that I think they had. But that I think her reading this is interesting, like her lack of expression and emotion. I think like it's her reading a question that kind of explains, I think, how she operated with Charlie, at least in the last year or two of her life with him, or his life. Sorry, not her life. She's alive. All right. Let's jump to the next timestamp. All right. Let me see what she says. I think it's just him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just him. All right. Let's go to the next. 28:35. I'm not going to get it right on the dot. So let's go right there.
Her head all the time when she would.
Okay, just go with me on this. Since
Yep.
we're in this like trad wife era,
Yep.
should we try to bring it? Should we try to, even though it's not cultural, but like, I don't know.
Sorry, I guess I could have played it a little bit sooner for you to know the context. They're talking about wearing head coverings. One of the writers wrote in a question about head coverings, and James has Egyptian heritage and background in his family, and there's I think an Egyptian Orthodox church that is pretty big in Egypt, but that he talks about women wearing head coverings out of a sign of like respect, but they do it. And so she's now asking, like, since we're in this trad wife culture, which is weird, right? Because like that is her image, that like she crafted that image. That's not a real image of Erika Kirk. Like, remember, she was dating multiple guys, like consistently up until the time she met Charlie. She was dating someone in January, February of 2018. I don't remember which boyfriend that was, if that was JT Massey or the basketball player, or if it was Cabot Phillips. And I really think Cabot Phillips was like a jumping board to Charlie. He's like just a way weaker version of Charlie, like not even close. It's not even like a good comparison, but obviously he like works at the Daily Wire. He's like trying to be this conservative, like commentator. He sucks. He's horrible and he sucks. He's got pizza tattooed on his lip. What the heck is that about? Obviously we know the references, but I mean, Don't get me started on oh my God, I just said his name. What's his name? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. I just said his name. Anyway, she was dating. She was on the dating show in the Hamptons when she flew out or drove out from the Hamptons. I don't know if she flew or drove, but to meet Charlie at Bill or Bob's Burgers. I always mix it up. So I say both because I get emails like, you said Bob's, it was Bill's. And I say Bill's. No, it was Bob's. But you know what I mean? Like she was not, in my opinion, it's my opinion that she was not actively trying to live a Christian life leading up to Charlie. And in fact, it seems like she was leading a very promiscuous secular life, doing things like going on a dating reality TV show and drinking and joking about the secular lifestyle. Nothing, and and then acts like when she showed up to meet Charlie that she was this Christian woman that is living this godly life and like was ready to be married. And that's just not the case. Like, just objective reality says that that's not the case. And it's just sad that we had people like Tyler Boyer probably running, cover for her, people probably scrubbing her social media background to the extent that Charlie never saw or heard anything about it. And anyone that he asked about it, whether that be like Rob McCoy, Frank Turek, James Kaddis. And I think James Kaddis did their premarital counseling. I'm pretty sure this guy, he's known her longer than Charlie Kirk. And he talks about premarital counseling a lot. We know that Charlie said premarital counseling is very important. And I agree it is, especially for Christian engaged people. Like a lot of families, like if you don't come from a very solid family that the father and mother explain what to expect out of marriage, like dating and engagement at a young age, you don't really think through all the things that you might encounter. And so premarital counseling is very important. Crystal, what up? Hopefully you saw that. I gave you a good shout out this morning or at the beginning of the show. Good to see you, Crystal. Good job. Good work. Keep it up. But I'm pretty sure James Kaddis did their premarital counseling. I could be wrong, but given that he knew her 10 years, right? From like 2006 or 26, 10 years from that podcast that we just looked from last Friday, he knew her before Charlie. And I'm pretty sure, right, she was going to be hired to do the TPUSA faith component. That was like the whole premise of the interview that she didn't need. Remember, I didn't really need the interview because that's what people do. People go on interviews for jobs they don't need. Cool. Makes sense. So then you're telling me the reason why you went there wasn't for the interview. Got it. You went there to hook, line, and sink Charlie. And you and Tyler and you and your mom and you and all these mocking pastor affiliate jokesters like Greg Laurie, Jack Hibbs, Rob McCoy, all ran opposition for Erika Kirk to just marry Charlie and become what she is today. I mean, just get me all freaking worked up. All right, let me see.
I think
that's him talking. All right, we're going to jump. Well, let me see. Hold on.
Here's what I think. I think that God has asked us all to walk in a way that glorifies him. Before you were walking with the Lord, you lived in a world where it was, dog eat dog, and the supermodel world was.
He's so ignorant. She wasn't a supermodel. That's Melania Trump. James, that's Melania Trump. Erika Kirk was a pageant girl. Okay. There's a difference. I do agree that she was living the secular lifestyle, dog eat dog, like trying to climb that corporate ladder, and it seems like, what is that saying? Like you can take the something out of the person, but you can't take the person out of the something or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say the actual phrase, but like you can take the girl out of the secular chasing corporate ladder rising lifestyle, but you can't take that out of her, right? Like seems like that was always going to be her goal, and that's what she was shooting for. And like the moment like 48 hours, you didn't need to pray about it. Oh, you had been praying about it. Oh, you prayed about it before you even met Charlie. You were preparing for the event of it. But he was going around telling everyone, if I die, I'm 31, super healthy, I'm good. But if I die, Erika Kirk, CEO, she's going to be president. I suck. She's going to be president. Yeah, he was just going around saying that. Okay. But I do believe that she was just like chomping at the bit. Didn't even think to herself like, oh, that's not going to look good. Me and Charlie did a lot of public speaking events. He said the traditional young Christian woman's role is at home to raise the children. And that's when you have a father around that's making the money. Charlie's gone now. So even more so, my number one, and you're going to hear it, it's either in this one or the other one, but the number one, your number one responsibility as a young Christian mother is to take care of the kids. So wait, is that even above number one? Let me do my math. So not number two. So number one is to take care of the kids. Okay. So let me get this straight. CEO, 325 days a year, working like 3 days off. That's what Charlie was doing. You're probably not doing that, but you're at least doing a lot. Raising the kids. Which one do you think she put number one? Yeah, I agree. CEO is what she put number one. Because just take her word for it. You can't do both. Balance is a myth. It's a myth. Not going to happen, especially 2 kids under 4.
It's crazy. And
Right.
it had nothing to do with anything that was what you would call modest or anything like that. The world in which you live today, because God has done this immense work in you. Look, as far as the world is concerned, the world standards, they would look at you and they would say you're a gorgeous woman. But your incredible beauty comes from who God has made you on the inside.
Really?
You are in the same category as my wife. Absolutely, strikingly, drop dead gorgeous woman.
Probably you should have stopped before you got started, dude. I don't know that you are aware what you're saying and how it's coming across. I get it. I think when this video posted, it had like 100 views or something like that. Like now it's at like, so this video is 9 months old. It's at like 1,000 views. So not a lot of people watching it, which is fine. But maybe when talking about a young woman, not your wife, who's supposedly someone you like pastor and shepherd over and you're friends with, and you're a business associate, you like help run her company. And I don't know how many years her senior you are. You're drop dead gorgeous. Like, whoa, buddy, pump the brakes, pump the brakes, dude. And then you say like, you're in the same category as my wife. He's going to do this often where he puts Erika, his wife, and he's just going to slowly switch it. I don't know. That's what it seems like to me. It's super bizarre, super strange. Nothing I would do. I don't know. You know what? We could even have a saying like, has Charlie ever done that? Let alone a pastor. Some people could say like, oh, it's innocent. Like, okay, this is like my 3rd video watching them together. They say it every time. He goes out of his way to say this every video. It's super weird. Charlie never went out of his way to say that another woman is drop dead, strikingly gorgeous, and compare that woman to Erika. Come on. Erika's not like, maybe we should talk offset one time and maybe you should pump the brakes on how gorgeous I am and comparing me to your wife. Maybe it won't land great.
And yes, you're beautiful on the outside. Absolutely. But it's who God has made you on the inside. That's really special. I don't think I even got to tell you this, but
please,
when I was at AmFest, it may have been one of the, and I was telling this to my wife, it may have been one of the most enjoyable days that I've had in a long time. Because most of you might not know this, but I got to spend the whole day with Erika. Like we walked around everywhere.
It was so fun.
And
we went to the press section.
Hold on. Okay, so I thought he was handicapped because Crystal showed a video of him from like years ago, and he had little gloves on and was in a wheelchair. You could see the bars sticking out behind him. And so I actually thought he was handicapped. And then Crystal also showed another video where he's on like a roto scooter or whatever, those like scooters that like they used to watch you like or what are those infomercials, right? And they're like scootering around the old people, and they're like, this has helped my life get so much better. Scoot, scoot, scoot. So he was on one of those. And so I actually thought he was handicapped. I've never made fun of anyone for being handicapped, and I never would. But then I actually saw like lots of photos. No, he can walk. I don't know what's wrong with him. I'm not going to speculate at like what it is that he struggles with. But when I heard him say that, I was like, wait, I thought you were in a wheelchair. And then I started looking. I was like, oh no, you can walk. You just weren't walking at these different times. And I don't know why. Maybe if one of you guys know why, you could throw it up. He seems to either struggled with like massive overweight at one point. I think he was over 500 and something pounds. And I think it was even more than that. I think he was like 500 pounds. And he said like, I used to be 380 something pounds more than that. So I think he was pushing 1,000 pounds or something like that. Anyway, don't quote me on it. Something like that. I didn't know if it was just weight or if he actually has a physical disability that caused the weight and the lack of mobility, which is possible. Okay. Which if so, that's tragic. And I would never make fun of anyone for that.
And he had media hits. It was so fun.
Eric, it was so sweet because I could see the way Erika was acting around people and behaving. And it's like, yep, you're.
I almost forget how many gems there are. I could see how Erika was acting. I know he didn't probably mean it that way, but I'm taking it that way. Acting and behaving around people. He'll go on to say that one of the biggest things that he saw improve in her is how he spoke to women, or how she speaks to women, and how it must have not been good before, because he pointed it out as a thing that was like the biggest thing that he saw God do in her, was how she speaks to women, which is weird. But I know some women don't get along with other women. I get it. It's a catty world. But nonetheless, I do think that she, for the most part, in all the appearances that we've seen of Erika Kirk since September 10th to date, I don't know that I've ever seen her be authentically, genuinely human, comfortable in any setting that she's in, not acting, not reading off of some sort of bullet point or script. And anytime she tries to go off script or off teleprompter or off bullet points, it is bad. It's bad. It's the worst moments I think we see from her is when she tries to improvise in the moment. And I think those moments where she's improving are some of the most telling, where you're like, bro, why is it so difficult for Erika Kirk to just be normal? Like just give us some sort of genuine statement where your face and your emotion matches the thing that you're saying, and you're saying it in a way that seems authentic and like you're not making it up. Maybe can you give us one? Because every time, I'm not the only one. Jay has said it. Everyone that said it, even Zach, he was like, we were giving her the benefit of the doubt in the beginning. Even Candace said it, right? Like, no, like we didn't come out the gate thinking she was involved in some way. But then she started to open her mouth, and then she started to film herself. And then we were like, what are we looking at? This doesn't look like a grieving widow. And so for me, I do think the majority of the time she is acting and she is behaving in a weird way. And I thought that was interesting that he said it that way.
The real deal. I just, you love it. There's something very beautiful about that. There's beautiful. There's a beauty in it. And I think that whatever you bring back into play, you do it because God's led you. And I think that's really where it's at. I think it's what's going on in the heart. And if what is happening in the heart becomes reflected in something you do physically, obviously it'll be because God told you.
Oh,
right. But I do like the picture of modesty. I do.
Oh, obvious. It's obviously because God told you. Well, James, why don't we apply that to today? Did God tell her to take on the responsibility of CEO within 48 hours, 2 days. I think she actually took over within 72, but I mean, she got that phone call, right? Like right away, like, what do you know? Everything. I know everything. And I guess it didn't even matter, right? No, actually, it wasn't even 48 hours because Charlie had went around and supposedly PBD said that Doug DeGroot just told him that it's in the living trust, that Charlie wrote it down, even though like Charlie couldn't even do that because he doesn't own Turning Point. It's a freaking nonprofit and the board decides it all. But okay, so if we take them at that, Charlie had written it in the will and they would have read that. She would have known, right? And supposedly he was going around telling everybody in person, side conversations. And then he said it one time in Aspen on camera, but they can't show us that, but they'll give us an edited AI manipulated, cut, spliced, trimmed with all this stuff in between before and after with music and everything, video. And then when we ask like, what the heck is this? And we're trolling the trolls. So, but I think she knew. They must have known, right? Like, even if Charlie didn't say it, which I don't think he ever did, clearly this is part of the mythology and like the lore of Erika Kirk and like her rise to stardom and fame after Charlie Kirk's assassination, that this was like God's divine providence. And in fact, God spoke through Charlie and Charlie said it. And like, if Charlie said it and he said it a bunch and he said it in Aspen in August, like, how could you deny Charlie that? So I think she knew right away she was going to be CEO. I don't think there was any hesitation. In fact, I would even go to say on September 9th, when that Zoom call meeting went bad, and he was like, afterwards, he sent out a text saying, yeah, I think they're going to unalive me. Yeah, I pretty much told them all where to go. And I'm going to UVU tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure they're going to take me out. And then she comes out and, in my opinion, they have an argument of some kind and wakes Gigi up. And then she tells that story that his adrenal glands were going crazy and he doesn't sleep in the room. And then he goes and gets the ring and then he goes and gets the necklace, doesn't say goodbye, doesn't give a kiss, takes a shower in a different location, like at the guest bathroom, and then like leaves all of his stuff on the floor and just leaves. And then she had asked before, do you want me to come with you? And he's like, nah, you should stay home. I think I'm good. I don't need your support, but thank you. Definitely think that at that moment, even before Charlie was taken from all of us, she knew, in my opinion, she freaking knew what was coming. And so I think she was already preparing her speeches. She was probably already picking out her wardrobe. Like, this will be the good one, but I'll wear this white suit with a black lace shirt underneath that I'll dangle the necklace and touch the chair in his office. This chair. That weird one. And then everything from there, right? The memorial and then everything else, man. Nuts. Nana. Okay. Hi, Matt. I had so much respect for Charlie when he did the podcast with the girls who sell their time. Can't remember the name of that app. Oh, the whatever podcast. You mean the what is it called? The OnlyFan girls, when he went on the whatever podcast. That's probably what you're talking about. And he would barely look at them and was so respectful. Great show. Thank you. Thank you, Nana. That's what we call my mom, or that's what my kids call my mom. That's what I called my grandma. We called her Nana. But yeah, I remember when he went on that show, and he did really good. I thought he held his own very, very good. He also, when he debated a bunch of liberals, he did really good. I forget what that's called. It's like, I don't know, like the Thunderdome. It's like Charlie by himself. Candace did it too. And then it's like like 20 liberals around him. And then they like run up and like debate you. And where they debated Charlie, and he did amazing. So Mystic, thank you for the 5 gifted Black Line Brief memberships. You're the best. All right, let me catch back up. Let me get to the bottom. All right, let's continue.
The head covering can communicate multiple things. So we just have to be careful about that, you know.
Yeah. I just think, yeah. I don't know.
But it is a very, I mean, it's a world that I'm used to.
Right. I'm just thinking like, it's kind of nice to go back to, I'm not saying we need to do it. I'm just saying it's kind of not saying the 1950s and everything was, you know, the best decades or anything like that, but traditional, I don't know, making a point of going back to, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
We don't know what you're trying to say, Erika. But I mean, if James doesn't interrupt you, I'm going to let you try and finish.
I'm not saying we should do it. I'm just saying
people doing it.
Yeah, we know you're not saying to do it, but I mean, did they have gold sequence glitter jumpsuits in the 1950s? Did they have skin tight leather pants that are okay? To each his own. I'm not trying to be legalistic, but I mean, they're pretty revealing. Pretty revealing. And that's the time, like just days after the assassination. That's at the Old Miss where she like puts her fingers in JD Vance's hair. So like you're trying to suggest, or at least like I don't know, put forth like maybe it'd be great, or you think it would be great if like we went back to a time where everyone was more modest. But you yourself, I think the only time I look at you and your public persona figure, like on screen, the only times you ever were modest was when Charlie was on this planet and you were dating, engaged, and married to him. Before, nope. Modest would not be a word that I describe Erika Kirk. And after the fact, after Charlie was assassinated, modest would not be a word that I would describe her either. And so therefore that she's trying to say like she would like it if women would go back to a time of more simple times and more modesty is insane, because it's like, well, then why don't you do it? Why don't you do it now? Why didn't you like do it? Set the example, Erika. What are you waiting for?
I mean,
okay, here's a perfect example. I think we need to dress better for church.
Oh yeah.
Like I think the flip-flop thing is done. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, what's insane is all of the pastors that she's affiliated with are Calvary Chapel pastors. It's baked into the Calvary Chapel movement, surfing. Like most of the pastors, I mean, except for James, I don't think he can surf. But most of the pastors I grew up with within the Calvary Chapel churches in Southern California, like Carlsbad, Oceanside, Vista, and further south, and even up in like Santa Monica, Orange County, Anaheim, even Greg, like surfing is like baked in, like flip flops and shorts and a like Hawaiian button down is like that is like the pastor's get up. It's crazy. Maybe you should send an email to your Calvary Chapel pastors. Jack Hibbs wore flip-flops a lot too, man.
Charlie and I were walking through a church in New York, and there were girls there wearing those sports bra tops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mind you, service wasn't going on. Sports bra tops with leggings and sneakers. And I thought to myself, if everything were to happen and God came down right now and do you want to be?
And those women know better.
You're in church.
Yeah.
And
yes, I believe like, you know, there is something nice to that, but like, isn't like come as you are. And I think that they're about to say that as well. But like you talking about women wearing like athletic pants is no different than you wearing those like skin tight leather pants. It's like the exact same thing. I don't know. I mean, you weren't at church, but like you are presenting yourself as this Christian figure everywhere you go. So like, you should probably dress like you're going to church every time you are seen on TV, because you are putting yourself forward as this Christian role model for women. Just a thought, maybe. All right.
you're looking like you just got done at Pilates.
What's wrong with that?
But you didn't because your makeup's done. So I just feel like we need to get back to a time and culture where what happened to Sunday best?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like you have a specific pair of shoes that are meant for Sunday, and you have a specific like small little wardrobe that's meant for Sunday for the Lord. I would love for our society to get back to that, because that
Yeah.
whole thing, I agree, come as you are
There it is.
inside your heart and spirit.
Oh.
But I feel like once people start dressing better and
What about poor people? What about people that can't afford a special wardrobe for Sunday and have a small little wardrobe? Like, what if, like, yeah, I mean, I don't think, yeah.
like respectfully coming before the Lord, I just want to bring that back. And women dressing better.
It's a reflection of humility. It really is.
Right.
I mean, it really
I think
is
that's why my heart is like,
I mean, it's really not. Like, there's so many other factors that could be at play, like why somebody dresses the way they dress when they come, and like to give a blanket statement like that is just insane, because you have no idea what those individuals were doing prior to, or why, like maybe they weren't able to go back home and change. Like, what if something crazy happened in their day that day? Like, they would rather have come to church wearing, athletic wear, which is not even that bad, but whatever, than not come to church at all. Like, which one do you think God would rather prefer? Like, just come. If you can't go home and change, just come. Or no, you're saying like, if you can't come wearing a really good outfit, just stay home. God wants you to stay home.
okay, everyone gets a veil, because I want everyone to like look your best,
A veil?
like your best for Jesus.
not-
I mean, we
I
have
don't
a
know.
policy. We have a policy at the church that our guys that are on stage.
Okay, you and your policies at your church, James. We'll get to you in a minute, dude. Talking about modesty is crazy when she's wearing, like, I don't know, $100,000 worth of jewelry on her hands, and maybe even more. It's a lot of gold. There's a lot of diamonds in there, right? She's got necklaces, she's got rings, she's got bracelets. She's bling, and probably earrings. We can't see her hair. Maybe not, because she's got the headphones on and it would push against it. But maybe, I don't know. She usually wears earrings, the dangly ones. That's a Home Alone reference, if you get it. Home Alone 1. I think it's Home Alone 1. But modesty's not. So she's talking about modesty as if like modesty is a characteristic or quality that she's walking in every day. It's not. It's not. Gaudiness. Gaudiness. Yep. That's what I see. Did I miss one? Hold on. I did. Okay. Good thing I checked. Nana, I'm sorry, but EK is very dingy. It's painful. My name sounds like Nana. Oh, okay. I like that you helped me with the way you spelt it phonetically. Nana. Got it. Thank you, Nana. I agree. She is a bit dingy. The dingo ate my baby. Hold on. We got another one. What up, Jim, Carrie, Erika? Some of us are just grateful God gave us leggings, a messy bun, and enough coffee to get through the day. Athleisure isn't a sin. It's not pride, or pride is. Stay humble and give God the glory. That's good. That's good, Jim. Did your wife tell you to say that? I mean, or do you wear athletic wear to church sometimes? I like it. All right, let's continue. Oh my goodness, I hit play.
They're not allowed to wear T-shirts that have printed material on there. Like, you got to wear a collared shirt.
Yeah, no, your church is of the exception. You guys do a fantastic job.
Oh.
I'm meaning more of like,
oh, I know what you're talking about. We see
the
it. Because we
sneakers
want to
and
model.
preachers, that vibe,
no, I know.
just like,
That's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time where like she's just like, you're the best. Your church is the best. You're the best. Just like, oh, I can't. All right, let me hop to the next one. 40. Wait, she's going to talk quite a bit right here. I don't know if I skipped this one. Hold on.
yeah, I think you do it really well. I mean, you set the standard within your church because when I even spoke at the women's event, all the women were dressed modestly and appropriately. They weren't in tank tops. They weren't in, low-rise jeans. They were modestly dressed. And I'm not
right. There's also another event that I have that we'll get to later this week. So if this is in August, the filming of this is in August 2025. She spoke at an event with James in July. And we'll be able to see them talk about that at the 11th month video when we get to it. But that's what she's referencing now in the past tense. last month when when I was at that women's event.
Saying you need to wear a dress to your ankles, but like look appropriate. Whatever happened to the day where if you went to a dance, like would you dance that way in front of your grandma vibe? Like what happened to that? Now it's like people are doing that, at a 7-Eleven versus, do you know what I'm saying? Like
I do.
I want to get back to that. Dress so your grandmother would be proud of you.
Okay, you start. Change starts with you. You start, and then maybe other people will follow. Set the example. We'll see. All right, 4028. Let's hop to the next one.
Usual.
Okay. Next question is from another anonymous reader, and this is something that I think is going to be very powerful for many people to hear your wisdom on it. Okay. The question is in statement. It's apparent from the Bible that sex before marriage is against God's design. But what exactly is meant by quote unquote sex? I was explaining to my Christian counselor that my former fiance and I have slept together in the same bed, but he said that is not sex. Sex is apparently quote unquote penetration, end quote. But I would like Pastor Kaddis's view, if that's okay. And if sleeping together is not okay, what occurred between Ruth and Boaz when Ruth slept at his feet?
I thought this was interesting that she said she wanted to know his perspective when, like, obviously the perspective is going to be like no premarital intercourse before you're married is like, that's the rule. That's the law. And like sleeping next to each other is not intercourse. But it's also not a good idea. You're dating or engaged to someone and you're going to sleep next to them intentionally in the same bed. You're kind of setting your guys' self up for possible, falling into sin and, doing something you don't want to do. If you're waiting, you should wait, But we know for a fact, okay, like we know for a fact, Erika had many, many relationships with very, very secular men. She lived with them. She traveled the world with them. She did not do the thing that Charlie did, which was wait. And I know other people have commented on this and they don't think Charlie waited. Yep, Charlie did. He's not going to lie about that. For a guy to hold his V card into his 30s is not something most men brag about. In fact, society kind of mocks and makes fun of men that hold. They did a whole movie on it. What was it called? Like the 40-year-old, the V word. Charlie, I think, was proud of it, and rightfully so, because in a society where sex is everywhere and predominant, and it's like a click away on your phone, and like they're saying now, they've done numbers, stats that like kids at the age of 8 have seen some sort of explicit material. It's insane. But for Charlie to have been able to go all the way to his wedding night and still have that intact is something to be proud of. And I don't think he would ever lied about that. And, I think it's a bummer that anyone would ever try to imply or say that he lied about that in any way, shape, or form. He was very clear about that. And I don't think Charlie's a liar. Sorry, I just don't. Erika, on the other hand, I do think is a liar. And I don't think she had that intact when she married Charlie, just based on the people that she dated and how long she was with them and living with them and all that other stuff. All right. Let's see. He talks for this forever. All right. And then, yep, she nods in agreement. Let's go here. Yeah, 46.
Such a critical thing.
Right. Our next question is from John O. Could Pastor Kaddis talk about marrying an unbeliever as it relates to 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 12 through 16? I had usually heard the opposite, that a marriage between a believer and an unbeliever will not last. We have the verse right under there.
Yeah, I can read it to you. Well, I mean, I can quote. I mean, I don't really need to read it. I know exactly what that is. Look, the reality of it is, you are not biblically allowed to marry a woman who is not a believer, and nor are you as a woman biblically allowed to marry a man who is not a believer. As a matter of fact, I would make the argument based on the 1 Corinthians passage, I would make the argument that you actually, and this is like, oh, this is so tough to talk about, right? You actually are not allowed to marry somebody that you're not equally yoked with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which is why when I do premarital counseling, and I'm very choosy about who I do it with, I don't do it with a lot of people. When I do premarital counseling,
can you guys, whoever is big into research, and I'm going to take time, and I think my wife is, and other people can as well, is to look back at different posts and videos from Erika and Charlie around the time of their engagement and prior to their marriage to see, and even James, to see if he talks about it. Yeah, I think it would probably be James Kaddis, Rob McCoy. I don't know if Frank Turk would. He does apologetics, not necessarily considered a pastor. Maybe Greg Laurie, but I think it would probably be between like Rob McCoy and James Kaddis. And I think the top spot probably goes to James Kaddis, especially goes like, I'm very picky with who I do it with. Okay, buddy, you're so cool. You get so many offers that you just like, nope, I'm not doing it with you. Nope, I'm not doing it with you. Erika and Charlie, yes, I'll make time for that. Put that in the schedule, please. But I'm going to try to look back and find if it is in fact James who did their premarital counseling. And we know that they did because Charlie said it like multiple times that they did do premarital counseling, and he recommends it to everybody that's young and Christian and getting married. But I never heard who he did it with, but I have a feeling it's James. Michelle or Meshel or Michelle. I think it's Michelle. Mabel. Michelle Mabel? Did I mess that up? I told you I'm really bad at handles, guys. I swear I'm not stupid. I'm just really bad at handles. Nana. I got it right this time. Nana just became a member. Welcome to the team. Thank you for becoming a member. Oh, I didn't say that to you. Hold on. Welcome. Thank you for becoming part of the team. Welcome. Michelle Mabel. Oh, I got to unclick it. Oh, that's not the same one. There we go. All right, let's continue. 47, 41. I think we're right. All right, let's see.
I ask hundreds of questions that are designed to get to where you all are at. You know, like why, what are your views concerning all of these things? Because to bring two people in marriage, okay, the most important question is God calling me to do this? Once that's there, you've got to prepare for that. And being unequally yoked is crazy. Now, just for context, let me read these verses so that I can explain what it means, okay? The verses here are, but to the rest speak I, not the Lord. So right off the bat, the Apostle Paul is saying, I am going to speak about this issue, but it's my opinion. It's not God who's saying this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want everybody to understand that. So he says, if any brother hath a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. And the woman which hath a husband that believeth not, and if he please to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know. I guess I'd love to hear your guys' thought on this. It's hard to determine like whether Erika is in any way, shape, or form a real Christian, or if it's all fake. I'm leaning more that it's all fake. For multiple reasons, like given her history, her life choices. Everyone can be redeemed and everyone can be saved and turned around and repent and turn over a new life and a new leaf, yeah. And, Christ can restore people and redeem people 100%. But then as a Christian, you wouldn't be doing a lot of the things that she's done. And then you take into context, like, who she was right up until like when she actually met Charlie. Like she was still doing things that weren't weren't who she said she was. Like, okay, you're going on dating shows and drinking and doing things. You said you didn't do that. You didn't date for 5 years. You're lying about it. And then like, oh, we know that you were like on Fort Huachuca a lot. You filmed a video there. And now we know that, like, they have a whole department that like teaches people how to become like fake Christians and infiltrate like Christian organizations and churches. And then you made a comment that you like locked yourself up in a room for 8 to 9 months and you just read the word. Sounds like you were preparing for a role. So I don't know. I go back and forth, but I would have to lean more on the side that, yeah, she's not. And I hope that doesn't make anybody too mad, but that's just my opinion. I'm sticking to it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get to her part, right?
Or through your believing example. And that's what this is talking about.
There's a question that's in alignment with marriage that we'll ask next, and we'll only do a few more lifestyle, and then I want to hop into some questions for scripture. Karis asks, my daughter is married to a Muslim and has a hard time believing Jesus is God's son. She also says she needs proof that the Bible is God's word. I will tell her it's not like a math equation and that we need faith to understand.
This one isn't the one. Let me jump to 106. That's where we're at. I think she's reading the question there. Hold on. 106:30.
So much. And yet lots of people in the ministry make it taboo to talk about that stuff. And it makes no sense to me. Like none. Absolutely.
And then they'll buy the $4,000 jeans.
Yeah, right. Yes, that's right.
And now we're full circle.
All right, hold on. Actually, I remember this. I should have gone back further. Let's go to where Erika's reading it, and so we can get the full context of what she's saying.
Oh,
right.
It's the same thing. I think it's the same kind of nonsense.
I didn't realize how bad that buy now, pay later thing was until I looked up. This is a long story, but I looked up Dolly Parton's doing a thing in Vegas, and I was curious what the ticket prices were. The cheapest ticket price was roughly around $4,500. The most expensive one was $17,000. Almost all of her shows are sold out. And I was talking to my nephew about it, and he said, "Oh yeah, people." He's like, everyone's doing buy now, pay later. He's like, everyone's financing.
Wait, who's her nephew? She has a sister, right? Is it like her full sister or like half sister, like stepsister? I mean, it could be on Charlie's side. I don't know. Does Charlie's sister have kids? Or is it like, oh, my nephew, but it's not really my nephew, like Nicole Rothstein? Like, I don't think Nicole is married and has kids, but what's interesting, right? It shows how just so out of touch. Obviously, the majority of people don't have the privilege of having millions of dollars in the bank that they can just pay cash and not put things on credit. Obviously, maybe don't. Oh, well, I mean, if you're smart with credit, that's what you could do. You could put tickets to a show on a credit card and then you pay it off, as long as, like, usually the rule of thumb is that, like, you don't pay for something in credit if you don't actually have the money in the bank for it, right? You pay for in credit. Credit is supposedly, for most people, well, no, most people nowadays, it is a way to buy food, buy groceries, and pay for things. But it's intended, it was a way for you to build credit, right? And the smart way to build credit is don't buy something with your credit card if you don't have money in the bank to immediately start paying it off. But most people nowadays, we live paycheck to freaking paycheck, right? And people are buying dinner on buy now, pay later. Like Tucker talked about this, and so did Charlie Kirk, right? And when Tucker and Charlie talked about it, they did not condemn the people doing it. They said that it is actually because people don't have the ability to pay for things with money because of inflation, how low wages are, and just how bad the economy is and how expensive things cost. How that for I don't know if we're the first or my generation is the first, but we're worse off than our parents' generation was, right? Like most of us can't buy homes. Most of us don't have savings. Most of us have debt. And for Erika to get out there and just be like, I think it's nuts. Charlie never said it like that. But it just shows how to touch with just reality and with common people Erika is, you know?
Seeing everything. And I was horrified. Like, that's so poorly mismanaged on so many levels.
Think about this. Here's
It's really rich coming from you, Erika. It's easy for you to say in your little ivory tower that you've built because you're a builder. You're a master builder. A master builder that's never built anything of her own a day in her life. Her Proclaimed Streetwear, not a real company. Doesn't really actually make like real clothes and like sell it. Like it's just a front. Bible in 365. I don't know how many people actually subscribe to it. And I think it's much more. I bet Superfeed, her mom's technology is using to collect data on her subscribers and members to Superfeed. But for someone that, you know, pretty much has inherited everything from other people, it's interesting that you think it's so poorly mismanaged for people to have to like pay for things on buy now, pay later. Yeah.
The picture, because I did this calculation recently. Okay. If when I was 18, I took the amount of money that you would spend on a cup of Starbucks and pizza, and I were to put that every single day into a mutual fund that actually followed the S&P, okay, by age 40, I would have $700,000 in my pocket. Okay. And that's only after 22 years. Ready for this? This is where it's going to get really sick.
Here's the thing, though, dude. Having grown up in a pretty broken household where, you know, I didn't have a solid male figure, a lot of people don't have good parents and even if they do, one of the things that I think a lot of parents, my mom's generation, never taught fiscal financial responsibility, like saving and tithing and, you know, working and like how to use credit, how to not use credit. A lot of kids don't learn that, and they learn it the hard way through doing it the wrong way. But by that time they have the debt. By that time, you know, and they're like college students or going to college and they're working a pretty not high paying job. And it's not easy to pay off debt when you're not making good money. Right. And you're just trying to make ends meet. And so it's easy for these individuals that like probably had good parent figures and themselves were taught how to, you know, be financially sound and wise. But for others, that's just not the case. And to judge kids that like never were taught that and learned that is pretty unfair. You know, that's just my opinion. All right. Let me jump to actually 106:30 where he starts talking about it. Let's go here.
To understanding what God's word says about the things that we do, what God's word says about finances. Like there's so much that you can learn about business from the Bible. So much. And yet lots of people in the ministry make it taboo to talk about that stuff. And it makes no sense to me. Like none. Absolutely.
And then they'll buy the $4,000 jeans.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Which is so rich coming from someone that spent like $1,000 or more on her outfit after Charlie Kirk was assassinated at Aloe, right? And like, I mean, I'm sure women have done this where they probably could at any of the events that she goes to, people could like look up her outfits and determine like how much her outfits cost. Which I get it. Okay. Like it's okay to have nice things, especially like based on like how much you make and, you know, how good you're doing financially. Like, yeah, everyone's like quality of living is different based on like what kind of life they have, how much they make and all that kind of stuff. Circumstances are different. And so, but to make a blanket statement about like people spending $4,000 on pants, when I guarantee you, she's probably spent around that on an outfit. I would probably think maybe the outfit that she wore to the White House Correspondents' Center or some other event probably isn't. And then that's not even taking into context like the shoes and then all the rings and the jewelry that she wears, given that the jewelry is like a one-time purchase. It doesn't go bad. I mean, if you take care of it, but
That's right.
And now we're full circle.
Then you have guys in the ministry who are making a ton of money from the tithing.
Right.
And are going out and yeah, it's very sad. And you know what? I tell this to people all the time. Not that it's wrong for the church to compensate their pastor. I think pastors should be paid well, and I think that they should make a good amount of money if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But you know what? All day, every day, I make way more money outside of the church than I would ever in the church.
Right.
And not because my church doesn't pay me well. My church pays me very well. I get paid very good. But my point.
That's weird. You like really emphasize that. I get paid very well. Very well. Yeah, I think personally, this is just a personal opinion. And I think Nathan Apfel, who was on the Tucker Carlson podcast, would probably agree. A pastor's salary should not exceed the medium or mean salary of their congregation. And just because your church grows in number and in size doesn't mean your salary should increase. You know, you're doing the same thing. You're just getting up there talking. Okay, you're not talking more. Maybe you add a couple services more here and there. Your salary should increase with the inflation and cost of living. It should be standard. It definitely shouldn't be based on like how big your church gets. I think that's disgusting. The money should go back into the community. Yeah, and also into the building, and but that all goes back into the community. The size, you can start helping more people. But I think like community outreach it should go to, not to the pastor. And he's like, James, like, I get paid very well. Very well. I bet there's a way we could find out what the senior pastor at Calvary Chapel Signal Hills makes.
Yes, you just have to learn how to be wise.
Oh, that's
you have
easy.
to learn how to think at a level that a lot of people just don't want to do it. And by the way, it's
easy.
such a place of frustration with me, with some of my pastor friends, because I have pastor friends that are just brilliant men, but were taught their whole lives to just completely hate money. When in reality, it's not about hating or loving money. The love of money is the root of all evil. Absolutely. But it's loving God so much that you're willing to be faithful with the dollars that he's given you so that you can take it and accomplish the mission.
Right.
I'm already teaching my 7-year-old how to read charts.
Good.
He's like, it's you want to know why?
Charts. So I think he's talking about like the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P, teaching them young. Yeah, you do. You do that, my man. There's nothing wrong with that, but nonetheless. All right, let's continue. 1:16:35. I hit play.
Grace and mercy in that he lets the natural consequence happen, which is another form of judgment. So that's how to understand it if you were to describe it.
Okay. I'm going to go to Peggy's question. Can you explain more about the Wailing Wall and the Western Wall in Israel? Are they considered part of the temple? If so, how can that be since it was destroyed in 70 AD, fulfilling Jesus's words, no stone will be left standing?
Yeah, that's great. And that's a very, very good.
And you're going to notice, so James is like totally a Zionist. Okay. Totally pro Philly, which is interesting, right? Because at this time, the filming of this video, of this episode, was just after she left Tucker's. That was in like July. I'd have to look at like when it aired, but it was after Student Action Summit. I think it was after, maybe it was in August, but I'm pretty sure it was. What does that say? Oh, the beautiful yellow ribbon he's wearing. Yeah, what is that for? Is that the Lance Armstrong ribbon? Is that what it is? Am I right? Is that what it is? The Lance Armstrong, like be strong. Be strong. Yeah, he's always wearing it. But if it's just interesting that supposedly I believe Tucker in telling Candace, and I believe Candace that Erika was pretending to be totally anti-Philly, but she chooses to go on podcasts around the exact same time with people that are totally pro Philly, like so pro Philly. Just go look this dude up. It's about as pro Philly as Jack Hibbs. No, he is. It's the Calvary Chapel. It is. Jack Hibbs, Greg Laurie, and Rob McCoy. Totally.
Very, very good question. Okay, first of all, we never refer to it as the Wailing Wall. The Wailing Wall is actually a deeply offensive term.
I didn't know that.
You would never say that. You would always want to call it the Western Wall.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, with that said,
why is that though? Because I do know people who call it the Wailing Wall.
Because it was always taken as a very derogatory and anti-Semitic term. Not that I would like to even use that. In that, when people started calling it the Wailing Wall, it was a phrase that was adapted as early on as Hadrian, when they would make fun of the Jews who would stand before that wall and cry over the destruction of the temple. So it was considered to be a very derogatory term.
I did not know that.
A lot of people refer to it as the Wailing Wall, I refer to it as the Western Wall. Same thing with the phrase the West Bank. I never use the term the West Bank.
Right.
I always use Judea, Samaria, same kind of thing. Okay, now with that said, you're talking about obviously the prophecy, Matthew chapter 24. The Western Wall is a retaining wall around the Temple Mount. It is not part of the temple itself. So that's the thing that you have to understand. So Jesus's prophecy obviously was fulfilled by Titus in 70.
Yeah, and he goes on to say that so the Western Wall is not part of the temple, is part of the Temple Mount, and it being left standing did not contradict the scriptures. But every stone was left unturned or not unturned, whatever the phrase is. It was all destroyed. So that's what he ends up saying. All right, let's move on to the next thing because I want to get to the next video. The next video is much. And I watched this one and I didn't give my end timestamps. And I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Let me see. Let me just see if, because I don't want to miss. I don't know if.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
it's very, everything is very, very different.
Right.
Language is funny that way. I mean, I really love language.
It's right. There's, I mean, that's for instance, two things that come to mind is in New York City, there's a street called Houston, but it's spelled like Houston. And so when I first moved there, I was like, oh, it's on Houston Street. They're like, what's Houston Street? And they're like, oh, you mean Houston Street. Or people, for instance, you know this, saguaro. Some people say saguaro.
What's interesting, so in one of the other videos that we're going to look at next, like on, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday, I'm saying that because I might have another person on Wednesday. We have Matt Tucciarani on tomorrow, and then Wednesday might have someone on, and then Thursday would be the day that we could go over it. But it's from a video from 4 years ago, and she totally says she lived in China. So there's that. All right, let me go to the part where I actually have a timestamp because I don't know what happens in here, and I don't want to make you guys sit through it. I can go back through it later. 1:32. All right, I'm actually going to start. We'll see.
That is why a wife ought to have a symbol of authority on her head. Oh, we've read this one.
Yeah, we answered this one.
Don't worry about that one. Okay. Solomon, with all of his wisdom, strayed from the Lord. Why? He was considered the wisest person on earth, even though he.
All right, yeah, that's nothing. All right, 132. Let me just go to the part where I got it. 132 even. All right, that's as close as I can get it.
In one very specific context. But yes, what happened in 722 BC is the Assyrians captured the northern kingdom. Many of them were scattered. They were assimilated into other culture in this area of Assyria. Some of the remnants returned with Judah later on during the time of Ezra and Nehemiah. Their exact locations were not completely known, but the Bible says, it tells us very clearly that God knows their destiny. Again, Ezekiel chapter 37 speaks about the regathering of the nation of Israel, which is actually, I believe, beginning to come into play right now. It's beginning to happen. So this.
You want to know what's really interesting? So they're talking about the 12 tribes of Judah, but there's like missing tribes, right? Like only 10 got regathered, right? And so there's like 2 missing tribes. And let's see if I can pull this up. I'm not going to show this to you right now. But like I'm not going to play this, but this is a good episode. I mean, Jake Shield. Oh, I don't know if I shared it. Yeah, there it is. All right. Jake Shields had Dr. Longo, a secret Jewish historian, Khazar theory, and the lost tribes. This is a good podcast to listen to when like learning about the lost tribes. It was eye-opening, just to let you know. And so, I mean, I think James oversimplifies what he's about, what he says here, but I would say go listen to that. Not right now. Stay here. Later. Put it on the to-do list.
This all relates to when the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom separated. We talked about King Solomon just a moment ago. King Solomon's son was Rehoboam. He was the last king to actually rule Israel as a unified country. And because of Rehoboam's really bad decision-making, the kingdom was split. God allowed the kingdom to be split. You had 10 tribes to the north, referred to as Israel, and then you had the remaining tribes to the south, referred to as Judah. Israel, of course, was destroyed in 722 BC by the Assyrians because not a single king was godly. They all hated God. They all rebelled against God. And, of course, in the southern kingdom, it was taken on the 9th of Av, 586 BC, and they lasted clearly a lot longer because there were many godly kings in the southern kingdom, and they were all the descendants of David.
What the heck? I hope I didn't mess up my timestamps. That's not what I was wanting to hear. All right. I know that this is the video that video I did like 2 days ago. I'm hoping my timestamps are not for the wrong videos. This one is 11 months old. I am going to the next video. My wife was like, let's go to the next video. We are 11 months. Let me just make sure where I took my notes that I wrote them when I transcribed them. 11 months starts at 420. Yeah, red hat. She's going to be wearing a red hat. All right. And this says 11 months ago, this was filmed on June 20th. All right. All right. Okay, I'm going to start.
Truth of your word. So we love you, God. We look to you. We thank you. We pray, God. I pray, God, that the words that I share would be your words, Lord, and not.
Hold on.
Said yes, 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 yes. So as a matter of fact, let me do this.
This is horrifying.
Dale, can you give me the
second Monday
somewhere in the Psalms?
of July?
Yeah.
Second Monday, July 14th.
And I'm telling you, you are going to.
Okay, the reason why I actually started this before my timestamp is because she actually is about to tell us Charlie's schedule in this period. And I don't know if it's known. And I know that like other people and like Candace are trying to really nail down everything regarding like from, the last year, but even like from June to September 10th. And Erika's about to tell us some of Charlie's schedule. So that's why I wanted to play it a little early.
Be there live.
Yes.
In person. I'm trying to get Charlie to come the Sunday
flesh.
before. I don't know if he can do that or not. I don't know.
So he's out. So this is his schedule. So crazy. He's out of town on that Sunday. He's home on that 7th. And then he goes out of town again on that 8th.
Oh my goodness.
I forget where he's going. I think he's going to DC on the 8th.
And that would be July 8th, right? Because what they're talking about right here is what is it called? Summer of Psalms or something like that. It's like a women's retreat at Calvary Chapel Signal Hills, and it's going to take, it took place on July 14th. And then, of course, James wants to have Charlie there. Who wouldn't want to have Charlie there? But I honestly think it's not for I don't think it's for good reasons. I think he wants him there to be able to sell, more tickets and more people to come and see Charlie. Right. But Erika says that Charlie's actually going to be in DC on, I think it's July 8th. And if that's correct, I think that's when he was probably there talking to Joe Kent and Trump, trying to keep us out of the war with Iran. But I'd have to remember, when did we actually go? And when did Midnight Hammer happen? Because it might have been June. I don't know. All right. Let's continue. Not that one. This one.
I think he
he's
just
gone.
needs to ditch DC so that he can be here on the 13th. That's just what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Sorry. Why I'm looking at the 7th and 8th again. Sorry, the 13th and the 15th. Why am I? There's something happening on the 7th of July. I'm not sure what, but
that's another thing I wanted to play because I wonder what did happen on July 7th. She's pointing it out a lot.
God is trying to tell me that something special is going to be happening on July 7th because it won't get out of my head.
Well, we know that the phone call, the threatening phone call from Trump to Charlie was July 12th, right? And so Student Action Summit must have been just right before that. How would she not know? How would she not know that in June was the Young Women's Leadership Summit, and in July was the Student Action Summit? How would she not know that that's what Charlie would be doing? And that's also when like Tucker and Megan were there, and the debate between Josh Hammer and Dave Smith. I'd have to look up the dates, but I know that was like in July. And then I know that after, I think he went to the White House, and then he goes to the Hamptons donor retreat after that.
Oh, that's funny. So July the 14th, we are doing a series called The Summer in the Psalms. It is an amazing series for our women in our church. I am telling you this right now. Signups just opened up for that yesterday, and I would be willing to bet that by the end of the week, we will be at full capacity.
Wow.
And Erika is going to come. It's going to be great. One of the, this is really funny. I got to tell everybody a funny story. It's not really a funny story, but it is an interesting story. I sent an email to Charlie Kirk, I want to say like more than that, 6 or 7 years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, out of the blue, when Charlie was just beginning to like delve into interacting with church pastors. And I said, hey, bro, you don't know me. I don't know you, but I would love for you to come to my church and let's talk. And he sent me an email right back, All
right. So hold on. So let's just get this on the timeline. So on Friday, in the video that we looked at over the weekend, I think it was Saturday, but it was filmed on Friday, was the most recent, where she's like crying and all that. James said that he's known Erika 10 years. Okay. From 2026, that's 2016. Well, this was just earlier. So this was in 2025, 11 months ago, filmed in June, saying that he sent Charlie, he said it's like 6 or 7 years ago, he sent Charlie. So he reached out to Charlie. So keep that in mind. And he already knew Erika. And I think he probably, I don't know when she officially started Proclaim. Somebody in the community, Mike Crystal, probably knows. Someone else might know. I know, like, even when she says she started it, it didn't actually start, because like it didn't really start until she like married or was engaged to Charlie. But clearly, people that knew Erika first, including like Tyler Boyer, Rob McCoy, now James Kaddis, were reaching out to Charlie before. So if this was in 2025, 7 years, it would have been 2018. And he just said it too. It was before he started doing the Turning Point Faith. And that was the whole premise of Erika and Charlie's meeting at Bill's or Bob's Burgers, which was in August 2018. So that's interesting that at around that same time frame, James is reaching out to Charlie Kirk saying, hey, I want to talk to you.
He said, let's do it, James. So Charlie comes, and he happens to bring, at the time, I don't even think it was his beautiful fiance. I think that it was even before they had gotten to the engagement stage. Now, mind you, this is Charlie Kirk. This is the great Charlie Kirk. And I don't know if you remember this, Erika, but we're in the office together, and I look at you and my...
Okay, I have to brace you, okay? Please, everyone sit down. This is going to be disgusting. I'm not even overselling this. Just watch.
Sister looks at me and she says, she's gorgeous. She's a beautiful woman. And my wife says the same thing. And I look at Charlie and I said, Charlie, you're going to introduce me. So I meet you, and then me and you sit down and we talk a little bit about what's going on, what you've been doing, a little bit about yourself. I talked to Erika for like 7 or 8 minutes, and I go right to Charlie and I say, Charlie, is she engaged to you? And he looks at me like I just slapped him in the face. And I think he said, no, or working
like,
on
no, not yet, or we're getting there, or something.
No, not yet. We're getting there. And I'm like, bro, stop wasting your time. Okay. Erika is going to be, I don't know if you remember me telling this. I said, Erika is going to be to you what Nicole is to me.
That's
okay. Take advantage of it while God's got her blinded.
First of all, he says him and his sister and his wife like look at her and go like, wow, she's so beautiful. He can't pass up an opportunity to tell her how gorgeous she is. I think like you tell someone they're pretty once, like move on. It's not your wife. It's not your daughter. Like, what are you doing? You're gross. You're a weird old dude. She's like way young. Like, it's just so wrong on so many levels. I couldn't even name them all. But then he goes, and I don't know if you caught it, it was subtle. So he looks at her and it's like, oh, his sister and him like point out like she is gorgeous. Like she's just so beautiful. And then he goes, and then I looked at Charlie, insinuating Charlie is not good looking enough to have her. And then he goes on to tell the story where he goes, you better. So another thing, he's pushing Charlie to marry her. It seems like many people were dropping these like subliminal, obvious, not even subliminal, just direct, like propaganda, like, predictive programming, like marry her. You better marry her to Charlie. But then he goes on to say, you better do it while God still has her blinded, as if her being with Charlie is her stooping down, and that God would blind her of Charlie's just amazingness. Like, looks aren't everything. And he wasn't an ugly guy. I don't know why so many people say he was like not good looking. He was an average looking guy. He was a good looking guy. He wasn't ugly. I mean, Erika doesn't strike me as the most gorgeous woman either, though, honestly. Like, she's pretty, but whatever. Her personality sucks. Ugh. So, I mean, but Charlie, like, he was like the full picture, like package, right? He was like a good dude. Like, you don't find that, okay? High earner. You would say like he's a high value man, not to mention his like ethics and morals and principles, godly man, honest man, integral man. And he was a good looking dude. He was an average good looking dude. He's not freaking Blake Neff. Like, give me a break. Like, God would have to blind Erika in order to trick her to marry Charlie. And then they laugh about it. And then, of course, Erika's going to come in and save the day and be like, God didn't blind me. Okay. I think what's sad is that Charlie, I don't think God blinds anyone nonetheless on like looks and things like that. I don't think God is involved in our life like that and like blinding people to not see someone for like that sounds like something the devil does, right? Like the devil, right? I definitely think that Charlie was blinded as to who all these people's character really was. James Kaddis, Rob McCoy, Frank Turek, Blake Neff, Andrew Colvett, Erika Kirk. I don't think Charlie had any clue as to who they really were. You know what I also don't think? I don't think Charlie ever watched these. There's no way in his busy schedule did he sit down and watch these. I don't think he ever knew what they were saying about him. I don't. He barely had time to do a number of things, let alone sit down and watch an hour and a half of this. And I think it's just sick that this pastor jokes about like Charlie being below Erika's level and that God had to blind Erika in order to get her to marry Charlie. That's just a low, dude. It's just such a disgusting. Okay, pastor. Well, Charlie took 2 years to propose to the pageant queen, 5 years older than him. Maybe he should have waited longer, way longer. I agree. I honestly think if Turning Point never went this turning TPUSA faith angle, and Erika Kirk wasn't brought into the scene, and Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff and Mikey McCoy, Rob McCoy, Frank Turek, James Kaddis, and all these people, he would have had and Erika Kirk, if they never came in Charlie's life, he would have had a much higher chance of being alive, in my opinion. Granted, we'd still have to get rid of Dan Flood and Brian Harple and them to give him a higher chance of surviving. We would also have to get rid of Andrew Colvett, Blake Neff, and then Terrell Farnsworth, Philip Goldsberry, and don't forget, we'd have to get rid of Tyler Boyer. Tyler Boyer seems to have been like the go-between, the middleman that brought brought Erika in for sure. And so we know for a fact God didn't bring Erika into Charlie's life. Tyler Boyer did. And they tried it 4 times, and they finally succeeded on the 4th. So it wasn't by accident. Like she talks about, I don't know if it's in this video, it may be in this one or the other one that I was watching that we'll watch later this week, but she talks about how she didn't plan for this, meaning coming into Charlie's orbit. That when she was a young kid, she never saw herself like being in this arena, which I get it. No, as a young kid, no. But Barron pointed out she was like in DC. She's been in the political sphere for a while. Like she was doing things politically before Charlie. And she was dating Cabot Phillips. I knew it started. I'm just kidding. I was going to do a Dumb and Dumber reference. I knew it started with an S, but it started with a C. So that was the name I forgot. I had said it and then I forgot it. Cabot Phillips. Okay, so she was looking to get into this arena. Not only that, she went to Jerusalem with her mom, trying to find a husband. When just so happens Charlie was there, and she like almost met him. Then Tyler Boyer sets up 2 different, and I think Tyler telling Lori Franzwe and Erika Kirk, Charlie's going to Jerusalem for the moving of the embassy. You guys should go there. We'll try and get a Sleepless in Seattle, like you bump into each other, you're in love moment. Then Tyler puts her behind the podium at the rally in 2015. They almost meet there. Then she comes to, so I think it's 5 times actually. And then 2 times at the TPUSA headquarters. One, she doesn't meet him. In passing, she sees him. Then she like shakes his hand, but it's like really fast. And then the eventual like interview that's not an interview, and they just hook Charlie with Erika. Clearly, this was something that she was planning. They all were planning this. And then you have pastors who Charlie trusted, Calvary Chapel mocking pastors that were all there to nudge Charlie, right? Like, let's just be honest, okay? If Charlie didn't know that he shouldn't trust, wait, did I do that? Did I read that one? Yeah, I read that one. Okay. If Charlie didn't know that he shouldn't trust Rob McCoy, Frank Turek, Greg Laurie, Jack Hibbs, or James Kaddis, within the Christian community, a pastor, a well-respected pastor of a big church that's well-respected, you can't get much bigger than that, you guys. Anything like a pastor like that says, you could take it to the bank that it's God's will, okay? And all of these guys that Charlie probably respected at that time in 2018 and was none the wiser that these people were probably running ops for Erika to push Charlie in that direction and to nudge him quicker, right? You just said he should have taken longer to marry her and probably wouldn't have married her if he would have waited longer. Well, guess what? If you have all these Christian pastors who are well respected within the Christian, Protestant community, Jack Hibbs, big name. Frank Turek, he's a pretty big name within apologetics. I mean, Rob McCoy, haven't really heard of him, but in Thousand Oaks, Calvary Chapel, he's probably pretty big. And then, Greg Laurie, really big. James Kaddis, I don't know if he's that big. I hadn't heard of him or Rob McCoy, and I grew up in the Calvary Chapel churches in Southern California. Nonetheless, though, these guys telling Charlie, you better marry her. Dude, you better take her off the market. You better marry her before she figures out you're ugly. That's what James basically just said. You better marry her before she realizes that she can do better than you, because God's got her blinded and she thinks you're the best that she can do. So you better hurry up and lock it down. That's so not a pass. Oh, no. Is my thing not plugged in? I don't know what happened. Oh, it may not be plugged in. My monitor's not monitoring anymore. Hopefully, can you guys give me thumbs up, though? Everything's still good in the stream. You know what I can do? Let me hit play. Let me go to the next timestamp, and then I'll get it set back up. All right.
I was not blinded.
I know. But I don't know if you remember this, Erika, but I told you, I looked at you and I said, wow, if you think God has done great things with you in the past, I just see you just have an amazing future. Like, I could see it. And boy, did I call it. I love saying I was right.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you were right.
Oh, my goodness. How much God has used you. So I say all that because I've watched God grow your heart spiritually in ways I never thought he could do. Like you were already you were already good stock, if that makes any sense. Like you like.
Okay, I hope I didn't miss the part right when she goes, God didn't blind me, and then I don't remember what she said right after that or what he said. I had to take off my headphones for a second to plug my computer back in. It was plugged into the computer, but it's not plugged into the wall. Doing he never misses an opportunity to tell Erika how amazing and perfect and outstanding she is. And it's just so gross. And it's just so fake because we all watch her and none of these things are true. So what is he doing? He's lying, or he's like hitting on her. I don't know, but it's not true. So then, like, what is it? Like, who does this serve? These statements, are they there to serve her, to serve him, to serve the public, to serve all three? But wait till you hear what he says next.
You're already solid. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then to see how you have changed, especially in the way you communicate to women.
That was the part that stood out for me, to see how you have changed. So he's known her for 10 years, right? From 2026. So he knew her at least 2 years before she met Charlie. And he's saying that, cool, I got it back on. Let me, my face is frozen, doing a funny face. Where is my, what the heck? My goodness. I don't know. It's not going to let me find the arrow. All right, I'm not going to mess with it. I'll try and figure out while the video's playing. But that to see how much she's changed. So she's changed a lot, especially in how she speaks to women. I wonder how she spoke to women before. I don't know that it's gotten that much better, but I don't know. That's just me.
I'm like, I love her. She gets it. Like Charlie needs this girl. Like, he has to have her. Like, this is like they gotta be. She's gonna be a good mama. She's gonna be a good support. And
so he says, I love this girl, which is weird. Not his daughter, not his like son's wife, like love her as a daughter. And then he goes on to say that Charlie has to have her. Charlie has to marry her. And if these guys are advising and counseling and, ministering to Charlie about their engagement, their dating and marriage, it makes sense. It makes a lot more sense now how Charlie could have made this mistake. This puts things into context for me. Multiple Christian pastors, well respected within the Protestant community, are all telling Charlie, you have to marry her. You have to have her. She's one of a kind. Her beauty is unmatched. Her internal beauty, God's blessing over her life, is undeniable. She's going to be an amazing mother who will forsake her responsibility in the event that you die. She will be a tremendous wife, even though she'll pretend to hate Philly and talk about it, and then after you die, completely turn the other way. And that's just 2 examples. We have like many more. I'm just trying to reboot my computer so that I can actually monitor my show. There we go. All right, let me hit refresh, and then it'll catch back up. All right. Let's see. Let me get this. Veronica, thank you so much for your super chat. James must have a PhD in flattery. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. And more. And more. This one's a crazy one. You guys, can you guys do me a favor? If you guys haven't done so already, real quick, can you guys just hit the like button? I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay. It's the best way you can help support the channel. All right. All right, let's continue.
I'm of all the speakers that are coming this summer, because we've got a few of them, you're the one that I'm the most excited about.
I bet.
Because you're going to be the one that's going to bridge the gap.
Okay.
You have people that are mostly focused on really young
women,
and then there's some that are focused on older women. You're going to be the one that's going to speak to all of them.
Oh, wow.
Because there's just something in your brain.
Oh,
I don't know what it is that, like, you get it.
Yeah.
God's done something pretty spectacular. I do know. I think it has a lot to do with the love and the relationship you have with your precious mom.
My gosh, I'm obsessed with my mom. Yeah.
Obsessed. That's a weird thing to say about your mom. You're obsessed with her. I mean, we don't want to mince on words here, but I mean, like, words do matter. It's also weird that, like, this isn't the first time. He did this on the video last week. What is on my chin? I don't know what that was. How long has it been there, guys? He went out of his way to say, her mom poured into a 1 and 3-year-old. What was the other one? It's another biblical term, like that. She ministered to a 1 and 3-year-old. Lori Francois. Okay. Probably not. But then he goes out of his way at every opportunity he can to, and like, this guy is not loyal to Charlie. This is while Charlie's alive, and I think he knows Charlie's not watching this stuff. And I have no respect for this dude. No respect.
Yeah. And just, I think you just get it. I think you get it. So anyway.
Yeah, that's my point. Okay. I remember. At the women's summit that she ends up going to, that we'll look at later this week. Why is a mid 30-year-old with 2 kids at that point under 3 giving life lessons, like life experience, to all aged women? It's a little weird. And she's newly married. So she got married in 2022. Both of her kids in 2025 are 3.5, 3 and 1. Not really lived a whole amazing Christian life. Really, like, it seems like became a Christian in 2018 when she met Charlie. Before that, there's no indication that she was saved at all. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, in the context of like salvation, like, you can live a non-godly secular life and then God can save you and restore you. That's not her story, though. Her story is she was a raised Christian and like has been Christian this whole time. Can you make sense of those posts on social media when she was 25 and she was like to a 15-year-old, you know? And then all the other stuff with her choices in men and choices of where to work at the Cochrane Group, who had affiliations with Jeffy Epi with, accounts and things like that. It really does seem that the reason why we have such criticism for her is because she said that she's always been like this. That even before Charlie, she was a traditional Christian, modest woman. But none of her life, and then even her pageant days and the things she said on stage and her interviews and how she dressed and what she did and choices, if she would have just been honest and been like, no, I was totally living a non-safe life. But like right before Charlie, I like rededicated my life and like totally rededicated my life to Christ. And ever since I've been straight on the straight and narrow. But that's not the story she tells us. And so that's why I have issue with it, is that, well, we can just look at your life and determine like, well, when did you actually start acting like a Christian woman? After the Hamptons dating show. Because, I mean, there's no real way I could tell if you were a Christian on that show, except the guy that introduced you was like, yeah, she's a really Christian girl. No, sorry, bud. Sent you an email, bit off topic, but ... All right, I'll see if I can get to it. Thank you always. By the way, always be true. I really like your emails. Always is always. I didn't mean to do that. Always is always emailing me, and we're emailing back and forth. And that's one of the things that I will always try to do, no matter how big we get. Okay. I actually spend a significant amount of time trying to respond to most everybody's comments that I can. At the very least, I have to go through and manually hit the like and then the heart for nice ones. Like I don't do it to negative ones. I'm not going to delete ones unless they're like really inappropriate. Then I delete it. But if it's just something I don't agree with, I'll leave it. I just won't like and love it. But I actually try to respond to like everybody, and I will always try to do that. I probably will not be able to as it gets bigger, but I mean that I will still always try to do that. And I always try to respond to emails as much as I can. And always is always emailing me good stuff. So I appreciate always. All right.
All that to say,
You're the best.
if you have not signed up and you're in the Southern California area, you better go to CalvaryChapelSignalHill.com and sign up now, because I think it'll be closed within the next probably week.
Wow. I'm excited.
First day, I think we were at 50% capacity already. The first day the signups opened.
Okay.
So, Erika, you're a big draw.
It's not me. You know what it is? It's your amazing bookshelf of all of your books and stuff that it's in your office.
Okay. I don't mean to pause this often, but if like so many things end up being said that like I'll forget about the points. Erika's not an amazing draw. Ever. Not ever. People have emailed me that went to the Young Women's Leadership Summit when Charlie Kirk was alive, and they said, no, we went because we wanted to see Charlie. Like, yes, her and him were on stage and they did like Q&As and things like on the final wrap-up day. But like when Erika, and I know not all of them, but I got a number of them that were like, when Erika got up to speak, they were like, you got to go to the bathroom. Let's go to the bathroom. Let's do it now. Yeah, let's go now. And they would like intentionally, that's when they would go to the bathroom when Erika Kirk was speaking. She's not a draw. Never was, right? And she's still not. Remember, she won't go to an event if there's not a good turnout. If they haven't, bought all the seats and forced people like Turning Point employees to sit in the seats. So no. And I don't even think she was a big draw. That's why he was like, we got to get Charlie to come. But watch what they're about to say about his office and tell me Tell me if I'm crazy, but I think something weird happened in his office between the two of them. You tell me. You tell me.
Your office is full of everyone just wants to come to see Pastor Kaddis's office. It's full. I was salivating when I walked in there for the first time because I love books, and we need to get into questions, but to go off of that, I love his office so much. And so anyways,
my office loves you.
We will be there on July.
I really don't mean to make more of something that's nothing, but I don't know how to read that any other way. It's just like a really off-putting statement. Like, I love your office. I get she talks about books. I get it. She said she talks about books. Doesn't come across as a reader like Charlie was. I think that was part of her persona, right? She knows that like Charlie loved books. He wrote like, I don't know, a half dozen or more. By the time, well, we don't know how much of the last one he wrote, right? Like he even said he wasn't done with it. And then her retelling of the story was he was done with it in July. He said in August he wasn't done with it, but okay. Charlie was an autodidact. He was self-read, like taught. We could remember everything that he read. He loved books. He was an avid reader. She's not. And I think that's part of this persona. Charlie's still alive when this is filmed. Not that I think that he watched it. Remember, I said I don't think he had time to watch it, nor did I think he would want to watch it. But with any off time, downtime, he was like preparing and studying and like learning and doing other things. But I don't think that she actually loved the books. I think that was BS. I think she's saying that because like she knows like Charlie loves books. But I also think that she's saying like she loved The Office for something else, and I don't know what it is. It struck me as odd. And then he goes, this old weird dude goes, and my office loved you. I don't know. Not to make more of nothing, but it just was weird to me.
14th.
You know the ones who are the most excited to see you, by the way? Like more than my wife. Yep. My baby are at they cannot wait to see you.
I have such big,
and I think they're going to come decked out in Proclaimed gear. I'm almost
product placement. Oh, there's no conflict of interest there. You're just on the company. You're on the board, buddy. Oh,
certain of it. They look the cutest when they wear those clothes. By the way,
so cute. Thank you. You're the best. I'm so excited. Thank you again for inviting me and always keeping an open schedule for Charlie too. I know that it's on his heart to come back out and be with you. So
Charlie's a monster. He's awesome. I mean, the guy he's killing it. I'm very proud of him. He's doing a really, really good job. And I would encourage you guys on a regular basis to be praying for Charlie, because there's things that I get to see that
Okay. Now he's going to say something that I think is pretty telling. Okay. He's going to imply that he gets to see and hear things that none of us do regarding pressure, flack, hate, attacks that Charlie gets, but he never tells us what it is. But that we should all be praying for him. And this is 11 months ago. So this was in June, right? Let me see real quick. Yeah, I keep messing it up. Yeah, June 20th is when this was filmed. So I find that to be interesting. And yes, obviously, like, we should all be praying for one another, especially someone like Charlie that's in a public, role. And yeah, he did have people, obviously, more than we even knew, that wanted him gone and wanted bad things to happen to him. But I find it interesting that these pro-Philadelphian pastors, these mocking fake fraud pastors like Rob McCoy, and I bet this dude's close with Frank Turk. Frank Turk went back to Egypt like multiple times. He goes to Egypt all the time. Homeboy's Egyptian. James Kaddis is Egyptian. Egypt is like a launching hub for the Mossad. Okay. That's why like those Egyptian planes are probably fronts for the Mossad, probably Philadelphian Mossad agents. Okay. Not actually Egyptians. That's what I think is misconstrued, is that like, oh, what does Egypt have to do with it? Figure it out. It's not actually that the people in the planes were Egyptian. No, they're using it. They're using the Egyptian call sign, the Egyptian planes flying out of Egypt. People, they fly into Egypt, fly out of Egypt into Cairo. Many people that were former CIA, former special forces, that French Legion guy that was on, whose podcast was he on? Was it Mike Ritlin? Or was it Jake Shields? I forget. I'll look it up. But he even said, like, yeah, it's like well known within the community. Like Mossad like works out of Egypt. That's why like they had to get Egypt when they did, you know? So I just find it, yeah, I don't trust this guy, dude. I don't think any of us should. Yeah, especially listen to how he talks to Erika and how he talks about Charlie. It's just disgusting.
99.99999% of the people that even interact with Charlie will never get to see. And I'm telling you, the enemy hates the two of them. The enemy hates the Kirk family.
Yeah.
So pray for them, because God has so powerfully and effectively used Charlie and Erika. Some of their greatest victories, by the way, no one ever sees. It's the stuff that no one gets to see. I'm seeing it, and that's how I know that God's going to use you guys even more. Yeah. So pray for
the thing, though. How do you get to see it? Because you are meeting with Erika once a month to do these filmings. You're talking with Erika more than Charlie. You just said, like, you didn't even know Charlie's schedule. You're going through Erika to even see if Charlie could come to your event. Charlie's not talking directly with you. So who's telling you? You're a dual citizen. Like your allegiance is to like pro Philly. You're a Calvary Chapel mocking pastor. You know all this stuff. What's Erika telling you? Erika's telling you things about Charlie that Charlie's experiencing. Charlie's not talking to you. You kind of just admitted that. You can't even ask him to come to your event. You're asking Erika to ask him if he can come to your event. How do you know what you think you know, what you're saying you know? I don't think you know nothing, dude. Well, if you do know, it's because you know it through like Jack and Butch Hibbs and, you know, BB and Frank Turek and Rob McCoy and Erika Kirk. Not from Charlie.
Them, because the enemy hates them.
Yeah. I'll take all the praise.
Erika hates the children.
I'll take all.
That's a weird statement. That's a weird statement. People have been saying this, that like Kaddis and all of us need to leave the kids alone, that we need to leave the kids out of it. I haven't seen one person actually attack. Or, okay, maybe some of the people on the crazy left did. I don't know. We'd have to like look it up and find out. I mean, like maybe the crazy left did or has, but like no, nobody's attacking the kids. Obviously, this is before the assassination. But he's like even saying it back then. He's like planting the seed. Like, they hate the kids. No, the only time any of us after the assassination brought up the kids is in like two contexts. The photo that she used as an alibi as not being at Fort Huachuca on the 8th is actually a photo on the 9th. Okay. That's not when Mitch saw her there, allegedly, right? But I believe him. I believe he did see her there. Those photos are not her kids. At the time, Fort Huachuca, her children, not her babies, my babies. Her children were 1.5 and 3.5. Gigi was 3.5 and Mac was 1.5. The children in that photo were 5 and 7, at least, based on all the different things I've like put in and like measuring the length of the arms and the feet and the thing. And we know it's AI too. Like the hands are all messed up. AI can't really do hands very well. The boys' hands are all jacked up. And it's not like, remember, Gary and other people came out and were like, it doesn't even matter if they're her kids. Come again? She said in the text that Andrew Colvett shared with Gary, this is Erika with her kids at 8:30 on the 9th of September. Yeah, it does. It does matter if those are her kids because she said they were. And she's using it as an alibi, well, for the wrong date anyway. But nonetheless, she's giving that photo to Andrew and saying, yeah, you can use this, just tell him not to share it. That's another weird data point, because like maybe she knew they're not her kids and was hoping that Gary wasn't going to pull a Gary and show it on air, and was just to be a photo that he looks at and goes like, yeah, I'm looking at a photo right here of Erika taking a photo of her kids, and she's got her finger over the faces, which is like, by the by, anyone could have sent that photo to her. Just because her finger is over the image of the photo that's in the phone doesn't mean that she took the photo at the time that she said she took the photo, even though it's the wrong date anyway, wrong date and time. But I mean, that could have been Andrew's kids. I don't know how old Andrew's kids are. It could have been anybody's kids. It weren't hers. It couldn't have been anybody's. It wasn't Charlie's and Erika's. It could have been anyone else's kids. And it most likely was anybody else's kids. But nobody. Oh, the only other thing that people have brought up the kids is, who's taking care of the kids? Where are the kids when she's doing all these things, when she's flying all these places, when she's constantly on the road, when she's doing all these engagements? Where are the freaking kids? I feel like we care more about the kids than Erika does. And I feel like we even care more about the kids than all the people on her defending team care about the kids. None of them are bothered that she seems to never be with her kids. And that like that was like a major point of interest for Charlie, saying, no, you're needed at home. They said it time and time again. Like, that's the role of the mother in the Christian home. And she's not, like, ever seemingly with the kids. That's the only time we've ever brought it up. No one's wishing harm upon the kids. In fact, neglect is a form of abuse. Neglect is harm. Not being there for your kids is abuse, especially a 3.5 and a 1.5-year-old after their father gets assassinated. And when their mom was the major figure, who was a constant figure, we'll believe, when Charlie was alive, like she was home with them all the time. So they didn't just lose one parent, they lost two. Because now she's doing what Charlie was doing and is on the road 325 days a year, taking 3 days off a year. 3 days of vacation is how they said it. Obviously, he took a Sabbath, if we take him at his word, which I do, as much as he could. I don't know how religious if he did it like literally every day, every week. But I think for the most part, when he finally put that into practice, he did. But now the kids don't have both parents in the home in the way that they should. They'll never get Charlie back. Seemingly, they're never going to get Erika back to the way it was when Charlie was alive. Here's the thing. I work with kids. I have kids. I do have degrees. Guess what you would want to do in a moment of trauma and chaos? You would want to make everything else the same. You would want to control the environment to an extent where nothing else is ripped out of their life, where they just lost their dad and you'll never be able to fill that void again. Everything else you'd want to keep the same. Their bedtime, the time they wake up, what parent is home with them. All of their kids crave routine and schedule. They like to know what to expect. The unknown is scary to a kid. Routine, repetition, is so reassuring and comforting to children. That's why children love to watch the same movies over and over and over again. They like knowing what's happening next. Okay. And to not only lose Charlie, and I don't even know that Mac don't know yet. He hasn't even clicked. He's like 1.5, 2. Gigi might start to like kind of understand dad's not coming home because she's a little bit more aware. And I know some people said that they have memories of 3. I don't, but you would want to make sure that the house, the home, your daily routine is all the same. You'd want to do that to comfort them. And now you not being there, Erika, she's adding to trauma. In my opinion, that's like a semi-professional opinion. I'm serious. Let's continue.
All of them. All the prayers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we're going to roll into a question from Gazala. I know I said that right because Kate coached me on how to say that right before we got started. So she asks in Judges chapter 17 and 8. Gazale.
All right, hold on. That was the only part in the beginning I wanted to hit, that disgusting stuff that her and James Kaddis said. Now we're going to jump all the way to 3250. 32, 48, as close as I can get it.
His microphone, so
Oh, wait, let me back this up.
I'm like always trying to like.
She talks about like not wanting to move anything on Charlie's desk. Hold on.
Make sure you don't, in essence, fall into that category of those that would be damned for rejecting the warnings given by the prophets of old. So that's what that would be.
Got it. Sorry, this microphone. Charlie, this is his microphone, so I'm like always trying to like readjust it, but not readjust it so much to where he comes in the next day and he's like, what is going on with my microphone? So I'm just gently adjusting. Okay. Next question is from Stacy.
I don't know. To me, that kind of makes it seem like she's saying like he's very anal and would like be mad at her for moving the mic. Like she's making a point to say like, I don't want to move the mic too much because Charlie will come in and notice it and like it'll be an issue. It's kind of what it came across to me.
Revelation chapter 4 verse 10 says, the 24 elders fall down and worship the one sitting on the throne, the one who lives forever and ever. And they lay their crowns before the...
Oh, this is where he talks about crowns, but hold on. That was the part that I wanted you to hear. Now we'll go to 30. Hold on. I shouldn't have exited out. All right, 3540. We'll just go there. Sorry.
Yeah, so this is a tricky one for me because a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but I'm just going to make myself really, really clear. The only concern that we have here at Calvary Chapel Signal Hill is that the music is theologically sound.
Okay. Yes. All right. So, all right. Let me set this up for you guys. They're talking about modern, like for those of you that are, well, Catholics maybe know of like Christian mainstream music. I don't know if Catholics listen to it or not. I know like within church, you guys sing hymns and, liturgy and things like that. But within like the Protestant, churches, like, I can't even like Switchfoot or, worship bands with Hillsong or Bethel or whatever, and granted, some of these churches that these big, worship teams have come out of like have had a lot of scandal and a lot of issues. However, he's going to make a blanket statement about all Christian artists and that the majority of the music that all Christian artists create is not theologically sound. Okay. Let me tell you this, my man. They're artists. Most of these artists, they're just Christians that are artists. They didn't go to Bible school. They don't have a degree in theology and biblical studies. They're not attempting to have their songs like teach theological lessons. It's more, and I don't agree with all of them. Like some of them I'm like, but like he's going to become really, really critical here in a minute. And what I think Christian music wanted to do was give Christians an alternative, because like kids and teenagers and young adults like listening to music, but a lot of the music in the secular world is not good. It's not good at all. And in fact, it's probably controlled by Satan. In fact, it is. Okay. Hollywood and the music industry is freaking demonic and evil. And he's going to like really, really go hard on Christian artists and saying that their music is like blasphemous and has done more damage than good. Look, dude, no one is actually sitting down, in my opinion, I didn't, listening to Christian music and trying to like draw out theological lessons. It's just a better alternative. And a lot of time it's just like good uplifting music where it's talking about God. It's talking about Christian things and themes. And it's a much better alternative than like secular, like Lecrae. I don't know a lot about Lecrae. I think my wife did though, growing up. But yeah, DC Talk. Like there's there's another one I was thinking of, but I'm going to mess it up. But Switchfoot is one that I grew up with in Southern California a lot. It's a much better alternative than secular music, especially from like the 2000s and on. Like, well, even before that, music was always like rock and stuff. It was good. I like some regular music. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of it's not uplifting. And like what you put in here and in through here and in through here, it changes you here. What you listen to, what you watch, what you spend your time on, right? Like things we don't even know, but this is how powerful Hollywood and the music industry is. If you learn about like Carl Jung, right, and the subconscious, and I know that Candace has done a lot on like psychology and to look out for like Sigmund Freud and all that. Yeah, I agree 100%, right? And B'nai B'rith and all that and what they really were doing. Yep, 100% agree. And I agree. I looked into all that myself going through school and I agree 100%. However, we know that subliminal messaging works. We know that repetition with cadence works. We know that you can actually you can program thoughts and beliefs and ideas in people's minds through repetition and through cadence and repeating the same phrase over and over, like Jack Posobiec was doing. We know that he's guilty because his mother turned him in, because we found the rifle and he is so guilty. Okay, there's a reason why. And so like music and movies that kids probably watch and listen to more than once actually affects the way people think and choose to behave, and that end up behaving, whether they choose to or just do it anyway. Christian music is a better alternative to that. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, we go to church on Sunday for pastors and priests to teach us the theological teachings of Scripture. That's not why people are listening to Christian music. But watch them try to destroy it, okay? Always be true. I don't picture Erika home raising her kids. She probably had help since Charlie wasn't around much. He wouldn't necessarily know. She's not maternal. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think someone left a message in a comment in a video kind of saying that similar thing, that even now, well, probably even more so now because she's gone all the time, like she's probably outsourced raising the kids. And it's not by accident that the week that Candace talked about the parents and brought that whole thing up, and she's Erika on that Friday episode with James was like, oh yeah, and I just talked to the parents, and yeah, I go out there and see them all the time, and like, no, we're good, everything's good. Not a coincidence. Not a coincidence at all. And we could just take Erika at her word. She doesn't believe anything is a coincidence, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If the music is not theologically sound, well, then we reject it. Now, I'm going to say this because a lot of the music that comes out of Hillsong, a lot of the music that comes out of many of these other more popular worship places do not have sound theology in them.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, they have heretical theology. And one of the things that we do on a regular basis is we weed them out and we make sure that everything is checked for theological content. As a matter of fact, our worship leaders are not allowed to put out a song or to lead our congregation in singing a song unless it's been pre-approved by my worship director, who oftentimes comes to me and asks me theological questions regarding some of the phrases. And I'll tell you why, because music is powerful.
So nothing gets approved except by him. You know, he is the king of the castle. And they at Signal Hill, we just do things different. At Signal Hill, because I'm the best, our worship is better than everyone else's. And it's theologically sound because I make sure so. Okay, James. Toot your own horn much, buddy.
Powerful,
Mm-hmm.
and it's influential.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's something that is really critical. Now, I want to just simply say this. What we call worship music today is what the Bible refers to as praise. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not what we have defined it to be. The one thing that I want to say is that there's a lot of people that are out there that are great musicians who don't know their heads from their rears when it comes to theology.
They're
Mhm.
not supposed to, bro. They never claim to. That's what's insane. You're like measuring worship music like up against pastors and like sermons. I don't know anyone that said that was their intent, was to like expound scripture through worship. Like, no, dude, it's just supposed to be like people worshiping God, praising God, and giving people a better Christian alternative than to the secular music that exists in the world, dude. That's literally it. You are going way too hard on this, and it just shows how like big your head is and what you think of yourself and how much you judge other people, dude. It's insane.
And music can be powerful. You get to the beat, the music sounds wonderful, but you end up being led to say things that are just absolutely heretical. I'll give you one example of this.
Okay.
One of the most beautifully written songs in terms of the way it goes, the melody, the harmonies, the sound, is a song called Reckless Love.
I was just, of course, Erika, you're always just about to say what someone else says. What a coincidence. I think not. There's nothing wrong with Reckless Love, you guys. There's not. Okay, maybe don't draw any theological teachings from it, okay? But like the song in and of itself, the dude's not trying to say that God's love was reckless, like in the way that he's about to say it. Okay, I never interpreted it that way, not ever. I'm just like, it's a good song. It's a good song. That's it. It's a good Christian song. Love God. God's amazing. God loves us. That's it. Now listen to what James thinks about it.
Just gonna have you talk about that.
It's
I'm so glad you're bringing it up.
It's such an evil song. And the reason why I say it's an evil song is because it teaches people to think that the love of God was reckless.
No, it doesn't.
No.
At least not for me. I don't know. You guys can shout out. Did you guys ever hear that or think that that's what that song was trying to do, to tell people that God is reckless with his love? That's not ever how I interpreted that song. Anyone else? No. Okay.
In reality, God's love from every perspective is calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Remarkably calculated. God did not get caught up in some lost emotion where he threw everything to the wind, threw caution to the wind, and all of a sudden decided to die on the cross. As a matter of fact, the Bible actually tells us that Christ didn't go to the cross willingly. He went to the cross obediently. He went to the Father and he said, look, if this cup can pass from me, let it pass.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, not my will be done, but thy will be done.
Yeah. See, that's the difference between a pastor and a worship song, dude. No one's trying to do that, my man. Oh, the next one's at 38:25. So we're almost there. So I'm just going to let this play through instead of jump into it.
That is calculated action. And the love of God is calculated. When you teach people that the love of God is reckless, you then also teach people to treat the love that you have for one another as being reckless, which means without regard. Wanton disregard.
And
I'm telling you that if you're going to have a successful marriage, I tell this to everybody when I do premarital counseling. I don't do it as much as people ask me to, but
You said the same thing in the last one. You literally said the same thing in the last one. Okay, we get it. Like, people want you to do premarital counseling all the time, and you just say, no. But I definitely think he did it with Charlie and Erika.
I do it still.
You do.
The one thing that I tell people is your love for one another must be calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Calculated. That's interesting. I don't know. Calculating. I don't know that that's how I would describe my love for my wife, is calculating. I probably would describe that for Erika's love to Charlie, or just her approach to Charlie is calculated. Calculating. Yeah. I do think that she was being advised by this dude. Yep. I do.
None of it can be reckless. If your love is given to a state of emotional being, your marriage will fail within the first year.
Thanks.
Right.
It won't work. You must be calculated in your assertions, towards your spouse. You must be calculated in your decision to choose to obey. It's a long, drawn out issue, but there is nothing about the love of God that is reckless. Not one thing. And I've been very disappointed in people that I love and care for and respect who are pastors who have no problem playing that song. I think it's insane. I think it's absolutely crazy. But there's a lot of people who think at that level. They don't take the time to understand the biblical assertions behind these things, and they make these terrible mistakes. As a matter of fact, this is how Bill Johnson and Bethel has actually produced a whole congregation filled with people who walk in deception.
All of them?
They did that through music and on purpose. It's their stated intention to deceive people through music. So it's, and I know that I'm flustering some people on this.
No, but what do you think of, should we just, like the traditional hymns and stuff, like go back to like, keep it that way, keep it like,
I think
does she not have an opinion of her own ever? Can she not tell us what she thinks? I mean, she's getting up there as some sort of figure that like has figured life out. Dude even said so, right? Like, oh my God, like God's done so much. Like you even minister to old ladies and middle ladies and young ladies because God's just like, he's done something really special with you. He broke the mold with you, Erika. But for a woman that like claims and like gets paid and like is up on stage all the time telling women how to live their lives, for the most part, she doesn't have any original ideas of her own. And that's not me being harsh. Go watch all the clips of her with Charlie on stage. Charlie's doing the answering. She defers to him all the time. And her answers suck when they come from her. They're like, not an answer. That's not an answer. You didn't answer the question. So it's not a surprise to me that like anytime these questions come up and things come up, like you think you really like, oh my gosh. Okay. We're going to hop to the end part that I have because that was the last one there. And then there's stuff in between. Not a lot. As far as I got was 46:19, and then I jumped to the end to see what they said. Hold on, let me see what
I think the traditional hymns, all of that is just an issue of liturgy.
Yeah.
It just depends on what style you seek to worship the Lord in. Right. I have no problem with somebody doing that more modern.
Okay, but he definitely just had a lot of problems with it. So, all right, dude. 134:16. All right, we'll just start right here.
One, because this is one that requires a little bit of experience.
Right.
Walking with God for a little while, you understand it. Erika asked me this question years ago. I remember asking me this question, and I told her something that I tell everybody, and that is Jeremiah 32. Go to jameskaddis.com, listen to my Bible study on Jeremiah 32, because there were lots of prophets that heard God's voice. Some heard it audibly, some heard it in a very quiet way. So
the answer was, the question was about hearing God's word or God's voice and like how God speaks to you. And yeah, I do think that he's telling God or telling Erika what God is saying to her, over her, for her, what she should do. He clearly was doing that to Charlie. Better marry her. Better marry her now before she wakes up and realizes that she shouldn't marry you. Bro, God never said anything like that. James Kaddis said that. You could take that as far as you could throw him, which is not far.
And others heard it by circumstances that were put up in front of them. Jeremiah thought he was hearing God's voice about buying a piece of land. And he said, okay, Lord, well, if this is your will, then have this person will approach me and will ask me about it. The guy approached him, asked him about it. Well, he knew it was God's voice. The one thing that I will tell you is that you will be more aware of God's voice by doing two things on a regular basis.
What's that?
Yeah.
Number one, if you are committed to reading God's word every day, not as a tool that makes you feel better because you did the bare minimums.
Right.
Like literally you created an app with Erika to do that. It's like literally a tool to get someone else to find you scriptures so that you can check the box and say you got scriptures. It's literally like an app is a tool that you and Erika created to help people read the word. And you're like on the board. Okay, dude. And the other one is pray. Yeah. That was deep, bro. That was deep. Thanks for letting us know that we need to read the word and pray. Awesome. I never thought of that. I don't think Erika's doing either of the two. Honestly, the decisions that she's made, how she acted, like the Tucker Carlson interview. I mean, you know, like she was going mad, like lying, pretending, faking, acting in front of Charlie and Tucker, only to turn around and do the complete opposite now that Charlie's gone. Lying, she never saw the text messages. Oh, I didn't know you meant like, oh, those messages. Oh, I have his phone. Charlie never said that. Charlie never said he was afraid that they were going to unalive him. Candace is like, okay, you mean these text messages right here? Oh, you mean WhatsApp? No, I said not text messages. I didn't know you were talking about a WhatsApp message. Maybe if you were in the word, you'd be praying more. You would know not to lie, Erika. You know, maybe you would not say that it was a miracle that Charlie was shot with a 30-06 and it was, you know, and then you were the one that said that, not Lee Trotter, the surgeon, or Lee Trotter, the surgeon. And Andrew Colvett didn't go rogue. You told Andrew that. Lied to Candace's face about so many things at the meeting. Lied about the book being done. Lied when you gave that alibi photo that wasn't your kids on the wrong day. Lied about Charlie, you know, well, he's going to support the war in Iran. He doesn't want to be with Massey, support Massey anymore. And like, yeah, obviously, like Andrew Colvett said that, but like, she's the CEO, dude. Obviously, he's the part owner of the Charlie Kirk show, but at any point in time, she could correct and be like, you got to stop doing this stuff, bro. Charlie wouldn't do this stuff, dude. I don't want you doing this stuff. She hasn't done any of that. Making a fake video of Charlie, in my opinion, an AI video of Charlie. Not godly, not honest, disgusting. Saying that you weren't going to use Charlie Kirk's social media platforms to like tweet things. You did. To like things, to repost things. That's exactly what you're doing right now. Lying and saying that like Charlie wanted you to take over the company when Charlie would never have wanted that. Okay. And that's just a couple. There's so many. I lost track. I didn't lose track, but I mean, there's just so many. We'd be here all night listing all of Erika Kirk's lies, distortions, deceptions, manipulations, gaslighting, attacks. Maybe if you prayed and were in the Word of God more, you'd be like, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I should just go home and be the mother to Charlie's kids. Yep. Yeah, I'd support you so much more. Even now, even if you did it right now, I'd support you more than I'm doing, you know, like I'd still be very, very like on it because I still think you did a lot because like everything that you've done since his death like points to you being part of something. We don't know what it is, but it's something. And it's not being a widow. It's not having Charlie's best interest in like wanting to further his legacy and like keep his company in the direction that he was going. But at least I could be like, finally, she did something. Finally, she did something right. Step away, Erika. It's not too late. That's my advice to you. Step away. Stop being CEO. You're faking it right now. It's not what Charlie wanted. Go home. Go home and take care of the kids. They freaking need you, dude. They lost Charlie forever. And now they're losing you. You used to take care of them every day. I mean, we'll be generous and say like at least 80% of the time you probably had help. Yes. but you've totally outsourced that help, probably 100% now. Just go home. And then start being honest about everything. I mean, I don't think you will, but I think you'd win a lot more respect if you repented, started taking care of the kids, left being CEO, and actually started saying the truth about everything. What was happening to Charlie at the end, what he was texting, who was texting him, who was threatening him, who he was scared of, who probably was involved in his assassination. But if you're involved in any way, I get that you probably will never do that, even if you were involved after the fact. Okay? So that's that. Let's look at some video of Charlie. I got some good ones. Let's remember what Charlie said. I hit play, I swear.
The evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Yep. Let me pull up the next video. Let's not forget what Charlie said. Because now we have Blake Neff and Andrew Colvett out here defending Trump and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and their handling of everything and deflecting and saying he wasn't an asset of a foreign or our intelligence or both. And why is Erika mum on this? I mean, like, we know the answer because she's an asset, dude. I get pissed off. It's just, if you don't get pissed off, something's wrong. I mean, we should all be pissed off at what's going on. It's nuts.
Now you wonder what.
Oh, whoa, no. Didn't know it had the music. I'm going to have to edit that out. Dang it. It's going to ding me for that. Hold on, let me pull up my other one. Let me go to my bookmarks. Can't play those. They probably all have music. I can't even tell if they do or not. Hold on, let me scroll down. Okay, this is a good one. Here we go. Wait, let me see. Is this the same one? Hold on, let me see what he's wearing up here. That one. Yeah, it's the same. He's wearing the same clothes. You figured out. All right, we saw that. I already played that. Hold on. Where is my other ones that I posted of him? Maybe they're on my profile, not in my bookmarks. Hold up. Okay, if any of the mods have sent me a Charlie Kirk clip, I played that one. I know I played that one last time. I don't want to play the same ones that I played before. Yeah, okay, I played all those. Let me go to my email and see what I have from. That's Sunday night. That's watch producing the Charlie Kirk memory. Nope, that's not it. Oh, okay. We didn't watch this one. Hold on. I got to add it to the screen. 1 second. And I got to boop. There we go.
You're in favor in small government for a lot of issues. Drugs are a big issue in America. I was wondering, what was your perspective on recreational drugs in general, the legalization of drugs?
The mass legalization of drugs has been a major mistake in our country. I used to be for it, and I've had a 180-degree reversal, and I'll tell you why. I believe in a small but strong government with prudent and effective and, let's just say, common sense laws. I used to be one of those guys that was a conservative that said, if we really want to reduce government and make the cartels weaker, let's legalize weed, and that will really make the cartels weaker. And then we'll have less people in prison. Everything I believed was completely incorrect. We've seen more violent crime, not less. The cartels are wealthier and stronger than ever before. One of the arguments was, well, kids now are going to be able to not do harder drugs. That's not true. Kids are now getting into fentanyl and harder drugs earlier, because whether or not we want to admit it, marijuana is a gateway drug. That is a true fact. Kids don't just start with fentanyl. They start with marijuana, and it goes to other drugs. And we see that happen time and time again.
You want to know what's really interesting? Compare that to when Erika Kirk at the time did her pageant behind the scenes questions, where they ask her about that. And I think that might have been in 2016 or something like that. That video of him, I'd have to look back at when that is. I think it's around the same time. Could be wrong. It could be off by a couple of years, but nonetheless, that was Charlie Kirk's take to the end. Okay. He used to be before that video for it, but from that video to when he was assassinated, he was not for it. I never remember hearing Erika Kirk revise how she defended it on that pageant, questions that she was given. And I think you guys remember what I was talking about, but, and I'm not saying my perspective, and if people here, you guys have your own take, that's fine. I'm just comparing like what Charlie had said and felt in his opinion versus what Erika said. They weren't the same. I don't think they were equally yoked in any way. I don't even know that, I can't judge her hard on whether or not she's saved, but we should judge people based on their fruit. Based on her fruit alone, I don't know that Erika's saved. And I think she's a fake Christian and a fraud. So that's that, you guys. All right, we are right at 2 hours and 46 minutes. If you guys haven't done so already, please do me a favor and hit the like and the subscribe. Please. Thank you. Thank you very much. It is the best way to help support the channel. Also, if you haven't done so or you're waiting to do so, please hit the subscribe. It's how you're going to know that I'm going to do videos, and it's another way to help support the channel. Another thing you guys can do is after the video post, throw a comment in the video underneath. Just be like, great show. Keep it up. Something small. You don't have to write a lot. And then you can hype the video. It's free. It doesn't cost any money. You just hit hype points and it hypes the video and helps it get to big new people, and it helps support the channel. Those are free ways to help support the channel. I understand, like, we're in a time everyone lives paycheck to paycheck. Not everyone can give super chats or gifts and pay for memberships. Totally understand. You don't have to. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, throw in a comment, and hype the video. Okay. And then for those of you that might want to, though, you can support the channel through the Venmo account. You just scan the QR code. And then when you do so, just write a note or a memo what you like your support to go to. And same with here. This is just another option. Some people don't like Venmo. So buymeacoffee.com/theblacklinebrief is another way you can help support me and this community and this channel. I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for another good episode and for the community being here. Thank you so much for your love and support. Let's see. I think I could do one more thing I can show you guys. Let me pull it up and see where we're at. The community is continuing to grow, which is really exciting. We're now at 11,144 subscribers, which is really cool. And all the thanks and respect and goes to you guys as well. This is a team effort. We're all doing this together, because if I just did videos and no one watched it, no one showed up, there was no engagement, no one liked it, it wouldn't go anywhere. And so really, it's as much of accomplishment for you guys as it is for me too. So thank you guys so much. God bless you guys. Love you guys. Tomorrow, mark your calendars. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Matthew Tucciarone is going to be on the Black Line Brief. And it's going to be a good show. He's been working on a lot, and he's got stuff that no one's ever seen, no one's ever heard, that we're going to be dropping tomorrow night. Mark your calendars. You're going to want to be there. Okay. God bless you guys. Love you guys. Have a great night. See you tomorrow. Bye.